Llévate más de lo que esperas todos los días con el nuevo McValue en McDonald's. Ahora puedes comprar uno y sumarle otro por $1. Así que cuando tu equipo favorito enfrente a sus rivales, enfrenta tus antojos con $5 Meal Deals. Y si estás corriendo para alcanzar el desayuno, corre a la app para llevarte ofertas antes del cutoff. Tú decides, y con McValue, tu decisión siempre rinde más. Precios y participación pueden variar. BOGO $1 válido para un producto de igual o menor valor. Debe estar registrado en Rewards para ofertas en el app.
My cat Freddie loves to be brushed and cuddled. But stirring up his cat allergens meant sneezing and itchy eyes. Then I found Purina One Live Clear. It's cat food that reduced the major allergen and my suffering in as little as 21 days. Now, we feel closer than ever. If you have issues with cat allergens, you really need to try Purina One Live Clear.
Try new Purina One Live Clear today. Purina One, a difference from day one.
Waiting for the best deals? Spring Black Friday savings are here. Shop early access now at Blinds.com and save big on new custom window treatments. Blinds.com makes upgrading your window treatments easy with free virtual consultations, free samples sent to your door, and professional measure and installation services. Plus, you always get Blinds.com's 100% satisfaction guarantee. Shop Blinds.com's Spring Black Friday early access now. Save up to 40% with minimum purchase, plus a free measure. Rules and restrictions may apply.
You have to control yourself!
And welcome back to Horror Queers. We're talking TTFN, ta-ta for now. We're talking, I know you don't exactly have money falling out of your ass. And we're talking shitters. And I'm Joe.
And I'm Trace, and we're talking, you're not ugly, Arnie. Queer, maybe, but not ugly.
Oh, why won't these two boys just fuck?
They really need to fuck. Everyone, we are discussing John Carpenter's adaptation of Stephen King's novel, Christine.
Tabitha! Christine!
Christine, what do we think of Christine, Tabitha? You think it's boring, Stephen?
Wow. Ooh, laying our cards on the table early there. Okay.
Oh, no. That's Stephen King's thoughts on this movie.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes,
Stephen King just loves to hate on the masters of horror, doesn't he?
Oh, let me... I'm just going to read the quote out right now, Joe. Because, I mean, it's on the Wikipedia, but it came from, actually, the irony here, Joe. This quote came from 2003 when Stephen King was doing the promotion for the adaptation of Dreamcatcher.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
What he says, several honorable adaptations have come from this 30-year spew of celluloid, and the best of those have had few of the elements I'm best known for. Science fiction, fantasy, the supernatural, and pure gross-out moments. The books that do have those moments have, by and large, become films that are either forgettable or outright embarrassing. Others, I'm thinking chiefly of Christine and Stanley Kubrick's take on The Shining.
There it is.
Yeah. Should have been good, but just, well, they just aren't. They're actually sort of boring. And speaking for myself, I'd rather have bad than boring.
I mean, I would agree with that last sentiment. I would rather watch a bad movie because then at least you can make fun of it as opposed to a boring film. I don't even find this movie boring. I find this movie needs a stronger screenplay because it's got all of the elements working for it. And then just something is not clicking. Like this ignition is not turning over a trace.
Good one. I can't really explain it. You know, I said at the end of last week's episode that Christine is the only Stephen King novel that I have started and not finished.
Yeah, which is wild. That is a wild track record, by the way.
It really is. I mean, it's whatever. Here's the thing, though. I mean, that was back when I was in high school, so I couldn't even tell you what wasn't really working for me. I just wasn't fully drawn into the Arnie and Dennis characters, I think.
Okay.
This movie, again, I don't think it's bad. It is firmly mid-tier Stephen King adaptations, but yeah, I agree with you. Something doesn't click here, and to the point, I think it's these characters. Like,
It's the characters. Yeah.
I don't like these characters, or I don't care about them as much as I should, which is interesting, given that this is a 2-hour movie with very little violence in it. Like, this is a dialogue-driven film, I would think.
I think the biggest issue is the characters as well. My thing is not that I don't connect with them or that I don't care about them. It's that I don't know them, in part because we are splitting too much time between a bunch of people. Like, I spent, this was a first time watch for me. I knew about the car, I knew about the flaming car, and maybe one other plot element, but this was mostly me going in cold. And I think I spent about the first 40 minutes trying to figure out if Arnie is the main character or if Dennis is the main character. And the reality is that they both are. The movie also wants to pretend like it cares about the smart slut, Lee. Except that it refuses to give her any characterization at all. This is arguably one of the most thinly drawn female characters I have seen in maybe like 5 or 10 years.
And not to say anything bad about Alexandra Paul, who I think is doing what
she's
she
trying
can.
to do everything she can. Yeah. There's nothing for her to work with.
Like, she is a naturally charming actress, but yeah, I agree. Like, just nothing here to work with. So I don't know. Like, what did you settle on a rating for this? Like, I put myself at a 3 because
it's a 3.
I think technically it's really good, but yeah, it's just like overall when it ends, I'm just kind of like, it's a shrug. And I guess I'm kind of surprised we don't do more to establish these characters in, I repeat, a 2-hour runtime.
That and this movie makes the colossal failure of once again misunderstanding that we want to see vengeance done to the bad guy. So I get that we have to end with like our hero, like our human heroes versus Christine, but also I needed to see Buddy punished. I didn't just want to see him get run over off screen and then leave a charred body.
Yeah, there's a reason for all of this, I think.
Okay.
So, well, we'll just go into this because...
Go into it.
Yeah. So, Joe, this movie is, funnily enough, linked to Tobe Hooper's 1979 miniseries adaptation of Salem's Lot. Something you and I are very familiar with, but we can't say why just yet. So...
right, yes. Mum's the word.
Anyway, that film's producer was Richard Kobritz from Warner Brothers Television, and... Oh, I should point out, I'm pulling all of this from the featurettes on the 4K release of this, which I think were holdovers from the Blu-ray, which I think were holdovers from the DVD from 20 years ago. So these are out there and easy to find.
There we go.
But anyway, so Kobritz, after working on Salem's Lot, developed a pretty solid relationship with Stephen King. And it was such a good relationship, and I guess still early enough in King's career, that he was like, hey, I have a bunch of manuscripts that I'm working on that are either in progress or actually finished. Can I send them to you and you can see what you would want to adapt?
Okay, that makes so much sense, because I noticed that the novel is published in the same year as the film, and I was like, so we clearly had this option before it went to print.
Exactly. So the two big ones he sent Kobritz were Cujo, which would be published in September of 1981, and Christine, which would be published in April of 83. So as you said, this movie comes out in December of 83.
Wild.
Kobritz passed on Cujo. In his words, I didn't think it was bad, I just didn't know what could be done with it. That just means, how do I make a dog do this?
Essentially, how do I make a scary dog movie?
Yeah, which the funny thing about this, though, is that Cujo would come out like 4 months before Christine, like the movie adaptation.
Right.
So the manuscript for Christine was 600 or 700 pages long, but it spoke to Kobritz, who liked how it delved into America's obsession with the motor car. And by mid-1982, he had gotten the rights to it, which also... Can you just imagine, like, I mean, again, now if Stephen King came up to any producer and was like, here's all my manuscripts, like, see what you want to make, like...
Right. Just, like, sift through the pile, pick something that interests you, and go and make a movie out of it. Sure.
Yes. Kobritz's first choice for director was John Carpenter, because they had both worked together, shocker, on the Warner Brothers television film Someone's Watching Me in 1978.
Yes, folks, we have an episode on that. Not enough of you downloaded it because the numbers were but that one's really enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. My husband watched it after we did the episode, and he was like, why didn't you make me watch this? This is so good.
Yeah.
But the problem was, though, Carpenter wasn't available because he was already deeply involved in an adaptation of another Stephen King novel, Firestarter.
Oh. That's unfortunate.
Well, so this was a gig he had been offered by Universal when he was in the middle of filming The Thing, but unfortunately, when The Thing came out, as many of us know, it was a huge critical and commercial failure.
Yep.
With Carpenter being criticized by critics for the film being too gory, too violent, and too grotesque. And so...
Oh my God. Can you imagine getting those leveled at you as a horror director? You're like, check. I did my fucking job.
Yeah. Well, I guess, though, because up until this point, Carpenter hadn't really done a gory film. Like, that was really his goriest effort, and still to this day is one of the goriest films ever made.
Yeah, it's so good.
So good. Now, okay, so I found two versions of this story. One was, okay, Firestarter kept getting, like, delayed and delayed. So finally Carpenter just walked, because, like, it just, there was a difference of opinion on how this should be done, and I think...
It wasn't coming together, yeah.
Well, Carpenter's adaptation, I think, was taking a lot of liberties from the novel, and so when he left... Well, when he left or when he got fired, because the other version of the story is after The Thing's reception, which was a Universal film, they took him off of it.
Yeah, they said, oops, you've already delivered a critically uncommercial film, and we would like to make this new one with someone who will guarantee us the gross.
Exactly. But since he was criticized very heavily for the amount of gore in The Thing, what do you think he was going to do with Christine but make it not gory?
Yeah, he eases off the gas, you might say.
Yes. God damn it, you're going to do this the entire episode. I like it. Keep doing it. So obviously, he was available to shoot Christine. And
there we go.
At this point, I mean, he was in need of a job because he was persona non grata after The Thing's failure. So he took the job, and in so many of Carpenter's interviews, he makes it very clear that this movie was just a job. Like, he did not feel passion for this project. He took it because he was afraid he was not going to work again.
Right. He needed a win, and this could give it for him.
And so, I mean, he did the job well. Like, I mean, he came in, like, he didn't, like, slack off, but, like, he just wasn't passionate about this. And I've seen interviews with him since, too, where he talks about Christine. He just says, oh, that's a very silly movie, which I even say, I don't think it's silly enough, personally, but...
Yeah, it's kind of falling, I guess, to go back to that Stephen King quote, it is sort of falling somewhere in the middle, right? Like, it's not bad, it's not fully boring, it's somewhere in the middle. It's like, well, it's not super exciting, it's not poorly made, but it's also like, it could be worse and more fun, or it could be better and more enjoyable.
Yeah, I agree with that. But funnily enough, though, so Carpenter chose the screenwriter, Bill Phillips, because Bill Phillips was the one who was doing all those Firestarter drafts.
Oh, okay. So we liked working together, just it was not going to happen for Firestarter.
Yeah, I mean, and they seem like they're friends, but I mean, it could have also been a, hey, like, I'm sorry you went through all that work for nothing, so why don't you come do this sure thing over here?
Oh, yeah. I guess I always forget that if you either get fired or if you leave a project, they may not keep your previous work or give you any credit for what you have submitted unless they're like, oh, I guess we used part of this. We should probably do something for them.
Exactly. Which, funnily, I didn't know this either, but Cujo also had a production issue where, like, the director quit 2 weeks in and they had to, like, replace him, which I was like, whoa.
Ooh, okay.
God. But the other thing he brought over was a special effects supervisor, Roy Arbogast, who handled the special effects on The Thing. So if you wonder why the effects in this movie look so good, which, granted, it's not an effects-heavy film, but...
Right. But when they're there...
Oh, I mean, again, like, we'll talk about the car repair scene, but I was watching that just like, how the fuck did you do this?
Oh, wait. Okay. Is there a story? Because I watched it and just default assumed we shot this and then played it back in reverse.
Reverse plays a part in it, but that's not the whole story.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. On the adaptation process, it was pretty smooth. The film is a mostly faithful adaptation of the novel with one big difference. And that difference is the source of Christine's evil.
Oh, okay.
In the movie, we witness, Christine being built in the opening scene, and she is already evil.
Right.
In King's novel, the car was possessed by the evil spirit of its previous owner, Roland D. LeBay, who, by the time the film starts, has already died.
Okay, yeah.
So Carpenter's film changes that and insinuates that the evil manifested itself on the day it was built, rather than have this whole extra thing where it's like, oh, it's a man spirit in the car. Mm-hmm. But again, fans of the book are split on this. Like, some people think it kind of ruins the movie, like you're betraying the book by making that change. Others say, oh no, that's actually an improvement on the book because the possessed thing is like really stupid.
Yeah.
Without having read the whole book, I can't really offer an opinion, but I can say that I think I might prefer the possession. I don't know.
I don't know, because I think that also it could have given us an interesting sort of transpossession read of this, because Christine is so clearly earmarked as a female car. Like, she gets possessive of Arnie. Or I guess we could read it as just straightforwardly gay if LeBay is also possessive of Arnie. So I don't know. Yeah, I just feel like this isn't a movie that naturally lends itself to possession. Like, the idea of just the car as a sentient object is more interesting to me than, oh, well, maybe let's douse it in holy water and call the Warrens.
Yeah, I don't think that's how they would have handled it, but...
but really? You don't think so? You don't think so?
No, I don't think that's how they would have handled it. But I will say, though, but what this movie does do very well is, I do think that Christine, the car, does feel like its own character. Like, this feels like a sentient car.
Yeah, to the point where there's a moment near the end where we actually discover that Arnie has been in the car when it has been committing things, and I was like, oh, I don't actually know if I like that as much. Because I kind of like the idea of Christine just being out there driving herself.
Oh, interesting. See, I thought that was the case the entire time, except for the ending scene. I thought that was just because, I thought he was only in there for the trap.
Okay, interesting.
I don't know. But anyway, so for Christine, they found 24 real cars, mostly Plymouth Furies, but also 2 other Plymouth models, the Belvedere and the Savoy. And they basically cannibalized parts from each one to where they had 17 functioning cars for the shoot, which is unsurprisingly where most of the film's $10 million budget went.
Sure, but also I want to see like a best in show style picture of those cars just lined up like, look at us, we're all happy, we're gonna make this movie, kill a bunch of people.
Yeah, well, they destroyed all but 2 of these cars, by the way.
I mean, of course they did. Yeah, this car gets the fuck beaten out of it.
Every chapter in the book starts with a rock and roll quote, very King-y. So they knew they had to get the music right. And this was around the time that MTV had just started. So on MTV one day comes Bad to the Bone, and the screenwriter's girlfriend just goes to him, "That's your movie. Put that in the movie."
Right.
When you think of Bad to the Bone, what movie do you think of?
Oh, gosh. I know which one you're probably thinking of, and it's on the tip of my tongue.
Terminator 2!
Yes. Okay. I think there was one other one, like one almost like family-friendly kind of movie, and now I can't recall it. But
It might have been like one of the Home Alone sequels. Honestly, like that song is used in too many movies, but
yeah. Super prolific. Folks, tell us what your favorite use of Bad to the Bone is.
Yes, I'm sure there's plenty we haven't mentioned here, but yeah, Terminator 2 is always what comes to mind for me. Carpenter's job, meanwhile, was to co-score the film dramatically instead of use like rock and roll soundtrack. And in his words, he ad-libbed it. He said he went home for a weekend, tinkered around in his little machine, and came up with the score. And I will say, I do like the score for this movie.
I do too. There was definitely 1 or 2 points where it seemed as though Carpenter kind of put the Halloween theme on and then was like, tinker, tinker. Okay, yeah, that'll work.
See, and I was getting more of like his Escape from New York stuff. But I mean, it's just the synth music, you know? Like it is there. Oh, and funnily enough, the studio wanted a hard R rating on this movie.
Wow.
Because I imagine they're like, oh, we have John Carpenter, the director of Halloween, and we have Stephen King. It's like a match made in heaven. Let's go for broke with the violence in this movie.
Where is it?
When that's not what Carpenter shot, they had to go back and find ways to make the kids curse more to earn the R rating. So that's why. God. I'm 99% certain shitter is a Kingism from the novel because that just sounds like it.
It reads like King. Yeah, that's literally why I even used it in the opener because I was just like, what could be more King than this?
It feels so Kingy. But basically, like that's the reason though this movie is so profane is because they didn't have the visuals of the violence, so they were like, well, we have to make it R some other way, and
my God,
have these kids cuss a lot.
I love it. Amp up the profanity because we don't have the gore and the violence. Said no one ever.
No one ever. I mean, interestingly enough, this film's kind of become a cult. Like this movie has its fans, but I think it's also from people like I saw it was a lot of kids were allowed to watch this movie when they were kids, and I think that's why.
Right. Here's the thing. I think that this movie is entertaining. You know, kind of like how we talked about Panic Room as this kind of popcorn blockbuster. This gives off the same sort of vibe. I don't think it's as immaculately well made. It's not as daring in a lot of its choices, but this movie feels like, oh, something you could put on and just say, I want to have a good time. Like, I think you could get that from this movie. Yeah,
I think I would like that more if it was like 20 minutes shorter, but
the runtime is a barrier.
Like, here's the thing. Like, y'all know I'm not opposed to 2-hour movies. I just, like, I don't think there's enough here for some reason to fill that, which is weird, but we'll talk about it a lot.
Yeah, there just isn't enough meat on this Bad to the Bone.
Fuck God damn it. Christine was released on December 9th, 1983, just 8 months after hardcovers were on sale. So when it was in theaters, the soft cover was the best-selling book in the country.
Jesus, the cross-promotional Tabitha!
Yep.
We're buying a new house, baby!
Now, when it comes out, though, other new releases that weekend were Clint Eastwood's Sudden Impact, the fourth entry in his Dirty Harry series, as well as Brian De Palma's Scarface. And
okay.
Those two films took the top 2 spots at the box office that weekend, with Christine settling for 4th place with a gross of $3.4 million. Terms of Endearment was, in its 3rd week of release, was in 3rd place.
Okay, I'm so glad you said that, because I was literally going to say 3rd place had to be a movie for women, because that is way too much testosterone.
A movie for women. I love it.
A ladies' movie, if you will.
But still, though, I mean, you think, oh, a $3 million opening, that can't be that good. No, Christine wound up being a box office success. Not a blockbuster, but a success. It went on to gross $21 million against that $10 million budget. So, I mean, it made its money back. It did well. It was received very well critically, all things considered, like compared to something like The Thing. So we're looking at a 76% on Rotten Tomatoes with an average score of 6.1 out of 10, and Letterboxd users have given it a 3.5 out of 5 or a 7 out of 10. Okay. And then, I mean, that's really all I have. The only other bonus feature on this 4K set, there are 20 deleted scenes of this movie, totaling about 22 minutes, I think.
Okay. Do we, give Lee anything more to do in any of those?
So most of these are, there's 20 scenes in 22 minutes.
Short,
so, they're short. I noted a couple, there's a really good moment where after Arnie gets bullied and he breaks down in Dennis's car and, cries in his arms and, Dennis holds him. I know. And I was like, that was really good to have. But apparently it was too serious for the movie.
It was too gay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what I got. But so I did watch the commentary with Carpenter and Keith Gordon, who plays Arnie. And I mean, again, actually a really good commentary because Gordon turned into a director after this. So they're both directors talking about this movie.
Yeah, that's essential.
But yeah, again, Carpenter keeps talking about how he wanted to make this more light and levity. Again, because the concept was silly, he didn't want it to get too serious. And so the scene with Arnie crying in Dennis's arm was quote unquote too serious.
Okay.
But I mean, yeah, there's more of Lee and Dennis's first meeting where they talk. That was a big part I was missing here, where it's all of a sudden Lee and Dennis are in cahoots. I was like, okay, well, I guess.
God, it makes no sense. It almost feels like a heel turn where you think, oh, so Dennis is betraying Arnie. Got it.
Yep, and there's a really good scene in the back half of the movie where Lee and Dennis kiss and Arnie sees them, and it's at a public place, and it's a big blow up. So I mean, nothing crucial that I'm like, oh, this needs to be added in. But yeah, there are a few Lee things that I think they could have shoved back in there.
Yeah, which they clearly were less interested in, because this very much feels like a teen testosterone car movie. It's a story about a boy in his car, and the car is his erection.
Question before we get going, though. So I said to you before you would even watch this, I was like, I feel like there are shades of Jennifer's Body in here. Obviously Jennifer's Body comes out 20 years after this, but just the whole idea where it's it's a nerdy person and the popular person, but one of them is sucked into something and they're doing bad things, probably killing people. Yeah, and so again, Lee is the Chip of this movie. But
yes,
a better girlfriend.
I was going to say less horrendous than Chip. See, also that episode where I would not let it go, and I felt like people got really mad at me for it.
No, oh my god, no.
Or maybe just annoyed.
People sided with you on that one. Any comments we got on that was siding with you.
Okay, well, I feel better then.
But I will say, the debate we had on Stepford Wives, more people sided with me.
There we go. That did interest me. So, you know what, folks? I love it when you let us know. Not that I'm pick Trace or pick me. It's not like we're running for high school president or anything like that. But it is always fascinating when we have a disagreement and people are like, oh, I'm a little bit more Team X on this one.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a little friendly competition. And right now, we're tied. So everyone, I guess let us know, do you think Arnie's been in Christine the entire time of this movie? There we go.
Yeah. Question mark.
Okay, Joe, take it away.
Okay, so let's play a round of Tabitha themed Stephen King adaptations in the 80s games, Trace.
Okay, I'm going to be bad at this one, actually, because
I'm going to fuck your shit up because I didn't even provide you with a list this time because you did really well last time, so I'm trying to make it harder on you.
I want to play a game.
The rules are simple. All you have to do is sit here and talk to me.
Okay. Oh God, I feel like I'm gonna be bad at this because like there's a whole slew of them that I was like, I don't care about that, and I didn't watch them. So, bye, Tommy Knockers.
Well, let's try breaking you in a little bit. So, your first question, there's a couple of different rounds here. The first one is, how many Stephen King adaptations, feature films, are there from 1980 to 1989?
Fuck.
I'll give you a hint. It's more than 10.
Oh, it's more than 10. Fuck. 14.
Holy shit, it is 14. You got it.
Yes! Now, this includes, like, miniseries?
Not miniseries, no.
Okay. Oh, wow. Jesus. Theatrically released?
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit! No wonder he was doing so much cocaine.
Oh my God, so much cocaine and so many houses, right? Okay, let's narrow this down. What was the best year, i.e., which year had the most Stephen King adaptations come out?
85.
No.
Okay, wait. 88.
No.
Okay, no, what is it?
Spoiler alert, it's the year that this movie comes out. It's 1983. There were 3 adaptations this year.
Is it this, Cujo, and... Is it Cat's
Name
Eye?
the last one. That's the next question.
Is it Cat's Eye?
It is not.
It's 84. Okay, wait.
I'll give you a hint. It hails from my part of the world.
It's... Oh, The Dead Zone.
It is The Dead Zone, yes.
Yeah, and that's Cronenberg, too, right?
Uh-huh, yeah.
I've actually never seen that movie.
It's okay. I think it's a little bit messy. It feels a bit like Cronenberg is at odds with Stephen King. Like, the director and the content is not a really great match. I will say, though, the political stuff is, like, hella topical.
Okay. Oh, shit. And the female lead in that is Brooke Adams from Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I would recommend it to people.
It's funny. I actually think I heard about the TV show with Anthony Michael Hall from like the early 2000s before I ever heard of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that motherfucker went on for, I want to say, 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, like I think it was USA's bread and butter for a while.
Yeah, because, I mean, again, you make it in Canada, so it costs you pennies, and then you just, I don't think they syndicate it because there's not enough episodes, but it was one of those, you don't have to pay a ton for it, and then you can get a lot of mileage out of it.
Yeah. Well, now I'm just curious. I was like, well, how many episodes were there? 80. 80 episodes.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a good payday for him.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. I liked last week's game enough to bring it back in, so I would like you to tell me, Trace, which are the top 3 highest rated Stephen King adaptations of the 80s, 1980 to 1989?
One is definitely The Shining.
Correct.
It can't be Cujo. It can't be this. Thank God for editing.
I'll give you a hint. The top one is an unconventional adaptation.
It must be something that's like Creepshow.
Creepshow is not, but it is relatively well ranked. The original, at least.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you, and you're going to hate yourself.
I know. I'm going to hate myself. What is it?
1986's Stand By Me. 92%.
God damn it. And that's like one of the first Stephen King movies I ever saw because it was rated R just for language.
Yeah, exactly. And it's such a delightful coming of age movie. So,
Oh,
in case you were interested, the third one is Night Riders.
I don't even know is that a vampire movie?
I think so. No, actually, it is not. It is definitely not. It is a motorcycle gang movie by George A. Romero.
I was like, I've never heard of it. I'm just like really curious now. Oh, not K-N-I. I have no idea what this is.
Yeah, I also thought that it was the vampire one, but that's a different Stephen King adaptation, apparently.
Oh. Okay. You can decide if you want to redo this or not. So this is...
I was going to say, like, why is this in here? I'm not even seeing his fucking name attached.
It's because he's in the movie.
Oh, that's stupid.
It's not an adaptation.
And Trace, you were so close. It turns out that the third ranked one is The Dead Zone. So it's coming in at 89%.
Okay. God. Okay, so yeah, all of these unconventional ones. I guess I guess, yeah, when I was really started paying attention to King, like, it was in that, because the 90s were, like, miniseries King. I guess the 80s were the theatrically released King.
Right, yeah. Because really, if you think about it, we only started doing feature film adaptations with Carrie.
Right. I mean, you started off the 90s with a bang with Misery, also directed by Rob Reiner, who also did Stand By Me. But, yeah, all right, well.
Yeah, the 90s are still also good. Like, if we cover some Stephen King in the 90s movies, we can revisit these.
Ooh, you know what I've never seen?
Which one?
Thinner.
I've never seen Thinner either, but I've heard it's...
really bad.
Obviously, it's going to have aged very badly in terms of its depiction of, like, Romani people.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it didn't get good reviews in the 90s, and I've always heard it's terrible, but it's one of those things where I'm just like, oh, but I should watch that one day, you know?
I think the special effects, though, are pretty impressive because it is one actor in, like, the fat suit, and then we, like, change it so he gets progressively skinnier over the course of the film.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Yeah, I don't know. There's a bunch of blind spots in there for me, so maybe we should do that one together one day.
Oh, God. Okay.
You're like, I need a break from Stephen King.
I would rather not. No. Okay, so to wrap this game up, tell me the 3 lowest Stephen King adaptations from 1980 to 1989.
Okay, so here's the thing. Is Maximum Overdrive on your list?
It is. Do you not count that one?
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. No, I was about to say, no, I don't count that one, but it isn't. It is loosely based on one of his own short stories, but that has to be one of the bottom 3, right?
Yes. Stephen King's Maximum Overdrive tops the bottom of the list, so the 1986 film has a 14% fresh Rotten Tomatoes score.
So now I have to look at which ones... Oh, wait, is Creepshow 2 below that?
That is the second entry, yes.
Really?
From 1987, it comes in at 29%.
Okay. Oh, okay. So when you said top of the bottom, I thought you meant that was like the least bad of the 3. but you mean it's the worst of the 3.
The worst of the worst, yes.
Okay, so Maximum Overdrive, Creepshow 2, and is it the Tommyknockers?
No, Tommyknockers isn't an 80s film.
Real? Oh, God. Oh, it's an 80s book. That's why. I don't know. What's the other one?
The last one is Children of the Corn.
Oh my God! That would have been my first guess, actually, if I had remembered that existed.
But we should note that it's only barely edging out Firestarter.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I thought the reception of Firestarter was more of a mid thing, but yeah, Children of the Corn never had a good reception. Like, even when that came out, that movie got horrible reviews.
Yeah, see, here's the thing. I would say Children of the Corn, there's a boring Stephen King adaptation. Like, I like Linda Hamilton. She doesn't really get a ton to do. I can't remember the guy's name.
I think it's Peter Weller, isn't it?
I think it's, yeah, or no, not Peter Weller. Or
Peter Horton. Peter Horton.
There we go. He is drier than a fucking piece of corn on the husk. Like, he is so boring.
Oh my God, you know, I just put together too, because remember John Carpenter did the score for the remake of Firestarter, and that's probably because he didn't get to direct the original one.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Oh my God, Joe, you have broken my brain.
I was going to say, it's a lot. It's a lot of Tabitha. Okay, well, let's talk about this movie specifically, Christine. So we open at a car factory in 1957 because, of course, yes, as you alluded to, Christine is hot off the press. That's not how you do cars, but you get my meaning.
And she is bad to the bone.
She is indeed, yes. Yeah, she barely makes it off the assembly line before she's slamming some poor guy's hand with her hood. And then another man has the audacity to leave cigar ash in the front seat. So he's got to go too.
Yeah, and again, that was kind of like, oh. Because the guy just opens the door and he spills out, but it's just a dead body. Like, again, just nothing there.
I think it's meant to be emblematic of the carbon monoxide poisoning that we'll hear more about as the film progresses. But yeah, part of me was just like, snooze, how did this guy die? Like, we didn't want to do something a little more exciting and sensational?
No, because we couldn't have Carpenter being accused of being too gory and disgusting again.
See, this is why we have to be very concerned about our filmmakers. We can't hurt them because then they won't give us the goods in subsequent films.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so we jump ahead to September of 1978, And we are introduced to Dennis, played by John Stockwell. And hey, Trace, is he our lead? I don't know. We're going to find out.
It's the structure of this movie. Like, we're not even interweaving the storylines of, because once they separate, kind of go off on their own path, it's really like we're following Arnie for the first act of this movie, and then we shift to Dennis. But like, yeah, I think that's a big part of why this doesn't work for me.
Exactly, because the movie also seemingly forgets about Arnie for large stretches of time because we have to turn into a bit of an investigation movie. Let's collect data and evidence. Let's worry about Arnie, but let's not have Arnie on screen. Yeah. Okay, so speaking of Arnie, Dennis is here to pick him up. As you mentioned, Arnie is played by Keith Gordon, and we learned very quickly that Arnie is, we wouldn't have used the term helicopter parent because it wasn't invented yet, but that is absolutely who his mom, Regina, played by Christine Belford, is. The dad, kind of a non-entity in this movie. You know, we rough him up when Arnie is bad later on. But for the most part, this is very much the Regina show, and I'm just so worried about my little boy.
I actually do like this actress, though. Like, I think she's...
Yeah.
She's really good in this, to the point where when she's like crying to Arnie after, you know, the car gets destroyed, I actually feel really bad for her.
No, I mean, I think I don't have a problem with any of the actual performances. It's more with the shallow characterization where I'm thinking these people could do more if we let them do more. But it just feels like the movie doesn't quite know how to use anybody.
Well, but that being said, though, I mean, even this first scene, I think like these early scenes with Arnie and Dennis are actually pretty good. Like, you know, we get to spend a couple minutes with them in the car, driving to school. We hear about some girl who's a walking sperm bank, which... Okay.
I mean, this to me, obviously, this is a very particular moment in time. Like the 80s, we definitely had a boys will be boys kind of mentality. This is a quote unquote teenage boy movie. Like, no one's going to confuse Lee for a third protagonist in this film. It is very much Dennis and Arnie's movie, and they are hormonal, and they're virgins who want to get laid. Like, we did this kind of shit with American Pie movies, so let's not pretend like it's new and novel. But yeah, I mean, the way we talk about women in this movie, it's very misogynistic, it's very homophobic, the way the boys talk to each other, and it just kind of feels like, oh yeah, this is that slice of life that we expect to see in a male-dominated high school film.
Yeah, this is just what I pictured. I guess this is 1978, technically, because that's what we're setting it in. But like, this is how I imagine the 80s, like high school with boys, like because of this and Carrie. Which actually, I guess too, this movie has a lot of parallels with Carrie.
A little bit, yeah. Like, it's a male Carrie, except that we use a car instead of telekinesis,
which is less interesting. But yes,
well, yeah. Because it doesn't really feel like Arnie is a part of what's happening, right? Like, he gets lured in by Christine, but that's completely separate to the havoc and the carnage that Christine herself is wreaking.
Yeah. Well, and that's honestly where it comes into play, though, where it's like, okay, well, is Arnie behind the car or not? Because,
how complicit is he?
How complicit? Exactly. Which I would argue, I don't think he's complicit until the show me scene, but...
Yeah, that seems to be the ultimate form of seduction, right? Like, basically, reveal yourself to me. Like, show me who you truly are. And then Arnie does not cut and run, which means he is agreeing to whatever happens after that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, John Carpenter filmed a car striptease, and there you go.
Yeah, this and Titane, right?
There you go.
You know what? Those cars should fuck.
They should.
And then David Cronenberg could film it and call it Crash 2. Okay, but yeah, I agree with you. You know, I like these early scenes with Regina where it almost sets it up like Dennis is going to be the one who corrupts Arnie because she doesn't quite like his loud music and his noise pollution and his speeding. And you think, oh yeah, Dennis is going to be bad for Arnie because he's our shy, quiet, geeky boy. But then we do also learn he's very much a teenage boy because he tries to play fellatio and Scrabble.
Which his mom wouldn't let him do because it was profanity, but it's in the dictionary.
It is indeed. This scene definitely reminded me of Black Christmas and how Barb is like
Fellatio.
trying to pull a fast one on with fellatio. I was just like, fellatio is such an outdated word, right? It'd be equivalent to somebody being like, I tried to play cunnilingus on Scrabble last night. It's just like, no teenager would do this.
When I was in high school, like, I was in theater, and we had these theater meetings, and like in the meetings we had like a suggestion box, you just pull out like a random thing and you read the suggestion, and someone wrote fellatio on one of them, just the word fellatio.
Oh my God, yes.
But the student who pulled out the card just looks at it and goes, "What's fellatio?"
It's a type of Italian dessert. Don't look it up.
If I had seen Black Christmas by then, I would have found that extra funny, but I just found it regular funny.
Oh, I think it's that sorority house in Canada. Yeah.
It's a new extension.
So good. Speaking of sex acts, though, the reference to fellatio does make Dennis think, okay, we need to get Arnie laid. And I was honestly picking out the homoerotic and or sex-oriented dialogue because there's so much of it in this movie.
Right?
But I did like that Arnie says, well, you need a girl to get laid. And I just wrote in my notes, no, actually, Arnie, you don't.
Okay, so you picked up on the homoeroticism between these two, right? Like, it's pretty gay.
I did, but I will confess. So I said I haven't seen the movie, but I listened to podcasts about it. So when I listened to former guest Cecil Baldwin and his co-host on Random Horror Podcast number 9, sorry, I always get it wrong. I just call it Random Horror number 9.
Yeah.
They covered this film, and Cecil was like, these two are so gay. How come no one ever talks about it? And honestly, Trace, I was shocked. I went looking for queer readings of this movie, and I could not find anything on the internet. So I'm like, oh, podcasters are apparently picking up the heavy duty lifting for this film.
Well, because I can guarantee you, anyone who writes about a homoerotic subtext of these two men in a male-driven Stephen King story / John Carpenter adaptation, you're going to get a lot of angry emails from incels.
Which is funny because these boys sometimes act like incels
or
early prototypes of it, right? Like, it's very much, if I could only get a car, I would get laid. Aren't I owed this? It's the American dream.
Yep. Owed this.
Yeah, there's also this funny line about how this girl, this walking sperm bank, Arnie doesn't want to sleep with her because she's got a mustache. And I was like, methinks he doth protest, but... But then Dennis responds by saying, what do you care if you get a little hair in your mouth? And I was just like, boys, just go down on each other. It's so obvious that's what you want to do. Fellatio, yep. All right, so we get to school, and Dennis's friend Chuck, who is played by Mark Pompel, mocks Dennis about his knee injury because we have to establish, oh yes, of course, Dennis is a football player. He's got these other friends who seem much better suited to his personality, his interests. Arnie is the odd duck out of everybody.
Doesn't it make you... Because did they ever really establish how / why Dennis and Arnie became friends? Like, have they been friends since childhood? Because
we needed that line, right? That said, we grew up on the same block before my parents moved me away, or we went to primary school and I protected, like, just one little line that said, we have been friends for 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, again, what Jennifer's Body, like, sandbox love never dies.
Exactly. Yes. We also have a female character named Roseanne who gets absolutely fucking nothing to do, but she does make fuck eyes at Dennis every time he walks by. And this is not Elizabeth Shue.
This is Kelly Preston.
It's Kelly Preston, but I definitely wrote Elizabeth Shue in my notes.
So the commentary with Carpenter and Gordon, it's from like 2002 because they're talking about Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
Oh, okay. Timely, relevant.
Carpenter's like, oh yeah, she's married to like John Travolta now. And I was like, yeah. I mean,
yes.
She's dead now, but like, yes. But I was shocked she was in this, but then also like that she has also nothing to do with this movie.
Nothing to do. Yeah, I think you messaged me and said, oh, isn't it weird that John Travolta and Kelly Preston are both in these very early Stephen King adaptation? I hadn't seen the film, so I thought, oh, I wonder if she gets to play a mean girl or she's got like a big meaty role. And then I was like, who is this character? Oh, she's barely in it for more than a scene or two.
She has like a funny moment, but it's not really funny because, we'll get to it in a second. It's fine.
It's almost mean funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so we also have another character. So we have Chuck, who is not super memorable. We also have Bemis, who is not super memorable, but together they sort of form this. It's almost like a Greek chorus of, hey, you should try to talk to girls and get them to fuck you for Dennis.
It's the oh my god, what are Danny Zuko's like gang in Greece? You know, we have the Pink Ladies and the something. I don't know.
The Summer Lovins? I don't know.
Yeah, the Greaser Boys.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, so that's who Bemis is. He's played by Douglas Warhit, and he is all about this new girl. And I will say, I found the line offensive, but it is incredibly memorable and descriptive, where he says, she looks smart, but she has the body of a slut.
Okay, I laughed.
What does that even mean, Trey?
Well, because they're mutually exclusive. Like, sluts cannot possibly be smart, and a girl who's smart can't possibly be a slut. T-birds, by the way, is what the Greases are called.
I never would have gotten that.
Ah, God, I love Grease. Yeah, this is hilarious. And this is also like a choice line of dialogue that kind of represents all the dialogue men have in this movie.
Yes, very much so. It is incredibly emblematic of the teenage male experience of this film. So, ironically enough, said body does walk into frame. So, we've got... Here's the thing. I deliberately decided I will not name this character until the movie names her. So, I'm only going to call her Smart Slut until we give her a name, because I feel like that is apropos for this movie's treatment of the character.
Let's do it. I love it. Smart Slut.
Indeed, yeah. So this is Alexandra Paul, and the guy's like, she basically walks by, she says nothing, she doesn't even look at them, she's just getting a tour of this new school, and they openly talk about how it's not even like I want to lose my virginity to her, it's like I'm owed sex by her.
Yeah. But again, the entitlement with all the men in this movie is ridiculously funny. I would almost think it was satire if it didn't ring so true.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny how you're like, it's so funny. And I was like, it's so repugnant.
Oh, no.
And both things are true.
It's repugnant, but it's one of those things where it's, I guess it's anytime
you're just like, these fucking teenage boys, of course they would think things like this.
Of course, in this 42-year-old movie. Oh my God, I have to do the math on that.
I mean, here's the thing, folks. We're not going to pretend to be incensed, because this is representative of a ton of movies around this time. But also, yeah, like, let's be real. Teenage boys, generally not the greatest.
Not in movies, anyway.
No. Okay, so at lunch, we have Dennis saving Arnie. So, he had to help him with his locker because, of course, Arnie is so helpless. He can't even open his locker. And then he doesn't show up at lunch, so Dennis has to go looking for him. He is taking shop class, we have learned, and he is being bullied in said shop class by a switchblade-wielding buddy who is played by William Ostrander. And this guy looks like a 30-year-old version of John Travolta.
Oh my God. Okay, so I was thinking John Travolta, and whoever played Ugg in Critters, the bounty hunter, Terrence Stamp, I think. Either Terrence Stamp or Terrence Mann. I can't remember which one it is. But this is also like right when we get the funny gag when Roseanne Kelly Preston tries to talk to Dennis as he's like running to save Arnie, and he just fully ignores her, and then she's just like,
yeah, she is so like. There's a whole side movie that I would watch of Roseanne where she is just trying to get this guy's attention, and he is too busy saving the boy of his dreams to even notice her. Yeah. It's very sad. Like, she would be a tragic character in a conventional teen film.
Well, and the problem is too, like, she gets one more shot in this movie whenever Dennis first goes to talk to Smart Slut.
There we go.
And then we never see her again.
No, which I think is another problem in this movie. Characters just disappear from the screen, and we never touch base with them again. And I'm not going to say, Roseanne, she's a character. She's my favorite. Like, she's the Barb from Stranger Things of this movie, and she got done dirty. Like, no, it's not that. But also, it's like, well, why are we introducing all of these extra characters and these little micro subplots if the film itself doesn't seem interested in doing anything with them?
Spot on.
Yeah, like I would have loved to have seen Roseanne in the crowd when Arnie is being questioned later on about like the murders that happened on school grounds.
Or like be killed by Christine. I mean, I don't know how she would have been killed by Christine because she never crosses paths with Arnie, but still.
Yeah, this movie does have a surprisingly small body count, all things considered.
I mean, bear in mind, outside of the first scene, the first kill happens over an hour into this movie.
That is wild. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they all get done at the same time because the bullies kind of get boom, 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 boom.
Oh, it's truly it might as well just be a montage of let's stop and kill these guys.
Yeah.
Okay, I do want to say, just because I'm continuing on this very fixated queer read of mine, where we do see Buddy puncture the yogurt that we heard Mom mention is in the bottom of Arnie's lunch bag. And when he punctures it, it oozes out and it looks like fucking cum. And then Arnie quite literally spills over it. Like he falls down like he has slipped on a banana peel.
Yep. Which again, like kind of a silly moment, but
But not played for laughs, so you're like, do I laugh? Is it meant to be funny? I don't know.
But that's the thing where I just like, Carpenter keeps saying, oh, it's a very silly movie. I wanted to keep it light. But then it's like, hey, but then the balancing of these serious moments, like, suffers, I think, by doing that.
Well, because we have a person who looks like a fully grown man going after these two who look pretty convincingly like teenage boys. I'm sure they're probably older than the characters they're playing.
Yeah.
But like, it's an older looking man with a switchblade going after two teenage boys, and there's no adults or parents in sight. And you think, yeah, I've seen this bullying PSA before, and these kids could get injured and or killed.
Yeah, but I'm happy that we at least we go there. You know, we actually expel this kid.
Yeah, we get this brief fight. Dennis is obviously holding his own. Arnie not so much, because he still needs someone to protect him at this point. This is the consistent theme of the film. But
speaking of gay, what about whenever they're actually fighting and one of these goons puts Dennis in a chokehold? Yeah, he puts him in a chokehold and squeezes his balls.
He does indeed, yeah. So this would be Moochie, played by Malcolm Danare. And I thought, okay, so I think it's meant to connote that this guy is a dirty fighter and he's not afraid to go for something like the Nads. But yeah, I was like, oh, wow, it's a very specific choice to have these boys grabbing each other's dicks.
Because I've only seen that in one other movie, and it's Tammy and the T-Rex.
And it's notably straight Tammy and the T-Rex.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're also throwing around insults like dick face and cunt face, which again, derogatory teen insults like what could be worse than having a dick or a cunt for a face? But also, you're basically just sexualizing other boys.
Well, also Arnie Cuntingham.
Yeah.
I have to assume that that's like a reference to like Richie Cunningham from Happy Days or something.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, possibly. Okay, yes. So we've got this character, Buddy, it's expelled, right?
Yes, yeah, he's fully expelled, yeah.
Okay, yeah, which makes sense. You pull a knife and then you tell a teacher to fuck off and more or less threaten them. You're probably going to see the bad side of something. But anyway, so on the ride home, Arnie is suddenly worried about retaliation. Like, oh, wow, we just kind of fucked up that guy's life by narking on him about the switchblade. So do we think it's going to come back? And the movie doesn't entirely forget about it, but it basically says, put that on a shelf and we'll come back to it because we need to introduce the real antagonist of the film, which is this beat up car over on that lot.
Yeah, which, I don't know. I guess the idea here is that Christine's pull is affecting Arnie already.
Immediately, yeah, because there's no reason why he should be reacting this way. And watching it, it took me longer than I care to admit that that's what was happening. Like, I didn't really clue into it immediately, to the point where I thought we were playing it for comedy, that Arnie is so bad at negotiating that he actually offers more money than is being asked for the car. But I think, yeah, in hindsight, you realize, oh no, it's because he's so desperate to be with this car because it's got a hold on him. But I almost wondered, do you think this would be a bit more successful if there was a music cue to kind of be like, he's now under her possession?
Oh, boy. I don't... So, maybe...
Or is that too heavy-handed?
I think it's probably too heavy-handed. But again, like that to me, it would make it a little bit sillier, which I would kind of be okay with. But I don't think Carpenter wanted that.
Yeah. Because the movie really does play a lot of this as fairly grounded in reality. Yeah. Like, we're not going big with sound effects or punchlines and that kind of stuff, but it's not so deadly serious that every once in a while you think, I kind of want to laugh at this because it's it's a killer car movie.
Yeah.
But everybody's playing it straight. Okay. Okay, yeah. So we get this ratty-looking harbinger named Mr. LeBay, who was played by Roberts Blossom, a.k.a. Marley from Home Alone. I was like, I recognize that beard. Okay, yes.
Yep.
He is wearing some kind of parachute corset in this opening scene.
So it's a back brace, and this is a holdover.
Okay.
This is a holdover from the book, because in the book, the more Arnie got possessed by Roland LeBay's influence, because remember, it's LeBay and not Christine
right.
in the book. LeBay wore a back brace, I guess, for some reason. And so in the book, Arnie starts wearing a back brace too.
Oh, see, I don't like that at all. That just seems very silly.
That's the
I can imagine it playing okay on page, but I think on screen, if you just see a teenager suddenly be like, I'm just wearing this back brace, no fucking reason, you'd be like, wait, what?
Well, because the idea is because Roland LeBay was like a T-bird, like a greaser, and so Arnie starts to become more greaser-like in his appearance as the book goes on. And they kind of do that in the film here, but not fully. But I will say this. There's a line of dialogue that is said here that is very funny, but also very gross. Where
the aside from pussy?
Yes. Okay. So LeBay says, she had the smell of a brand new car. That's just about the finest smell in the world, except maybe for pussy. And this so silly, but this line will be repeated later by Arnie, and I feel like, again, I haven't read the book in 20 years.
It's a bit of a holdover on the possession, right? Like,
that's what I think.
If you spend enough time in Christine or around Christine, you're going to develop these same characteristics.
Right, but I think, again, except maybe for pussy sounds like something that someone like Roland LeBay would say. Yes. So it's Roland LeBay, like, rubbing off on Arnie. Granted, I don't know what Christine would or would not say, but that just seems not like something a Christine would say. Does that make any sense?
It's a very weird thing, especially since this harbinger guy, so this is the brother of the man who originally owned it, and Christine ruined his life, and eventually, he died. And this man that we're left with, who is selling the car, actively trying to get rid of it, pawning it off on Arnie, doesn't seem to be under her influence, or at least that's the way that I read it. He is actively this car's bad. It killed my brother. It killed his family. I don't want it around. So it seems weird that Arnie then repeats a line of dialogue from this character later on.
Well, also, the shitter thing comes from the car. And the LeBay's brother says shitter. He calls Dennis a shitter. And then Arnie adopts it. So again, I get it. But that seems like, you took that from the book. But because that's a Roland LeBay trait, that shouldn't have been carried over.
Yeah, because it's not otherwise present in this film. It's a bizarre narrative choice. I think it mostly works because we do still understand that Arnie's personality is changing. Sure. As you mentioned, his mode of dress does change as well. I don't get T-bird car guy from it. I get more suave, sexy, confident from it. He's unbuttoning his shirts. He's wearing a leather vest. I was he's just getting more confident because now all of a sudden he's driving this hot car and he's got a hot girl on his arm.
Which we could talk about that in a minute, because we don't even get to see the beginning of Arnie and Smart Slut's relationship.
No, because the film is treating Dennis like a protagonist at that point, so it's meant to be this giant reveal of, oh my god, my best friend is dating the hot girl that I wanted to be with, and it's so shocking that I get railed on the football field and it ends my career as an athlete.
And I could not care less about that.
Wait, what?
Yeah. But no, you're right, though, because we keep mentioning Smart Sluts. Oh, yeah, she's got a date with some other guy. Oh, no, she's only said yes to one other guy, and we don't know who it is. So it's played for a reveal, but based on what the film tells us, I don't really buy Smart Slut, going for Arnie immediately, you know? I need to see that.
Yeah, he's got to do something that is so compelling it wins her over, because she was actually giving off, I'm not interested in dating men
at all
at this school, or I'm brand new here, so no, I'm not going to be accepting dates because I would just like to get through my first week unaccosted by hormonal teenage boys. And instead it's cool, I'll just date this guy who looks he's an extra from Greece. Sure, okay. I'm not saying it doesn't work for me. I'm just saying some of this is perplexing from a narrative choice. I have quibbles with the screenplay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Arnie has bought this car. His parents are not impressed, to the point where his mom, like, I love that this is her kind of retaliation on her son. It's like, well, you can't park that on our driveway. You have to take that somewhere else.
Well, because with that first scene when Dennis brings the car over, she's like yelling at him, like, oh, all the pollution from that car. So I don't think the parents own a car.
I could have sworn that they say they have a car later on, though.
Or maybe it's in the garage because they want to keep the fumes in the garage and not release it into the sky. I don't know.
It's such a weird kind of throwaway line, to the point where I thought, oh, are we starting to get environmental in 1983? Is that what's happening?
Maybe.
Yes, we should also note that Arnie has begun cursing at this point, and Arnie never curses, so this is another change in behavior.
Well, we needed that hard R rating, so have him say fuck a bunch and actually shitter a lot.
Oh my god, shitter.
Shitter.
Okay, so we take the car to Darnell's garage, and Darnell is played by Robert Prosky, and he is and is not a character. Like, he does what he needs to do in terms of advancing a couple of subplots, but this character also doesn't make a ton of sense to me. He just seems to hate anyone who isn't a client, but especially these teenage boys.
So in the book too, so he's like a crooked businessman. So like the odd jobs that Arnie does for him are like delivering illegal things for him. So
I did not get that from this movie.
Oh no, that's not said in the movie. In the movie, he's just delivering car parts.
Yeah, he seems like a guy who is tough on people when he first meets you, and you have to win him over, because he does come to appreciate Arnie's good hands, which I understand as a mechanic or something that is important, but also queer. It just reads as like, this teenage boy has good hands. Because he even says, you could start doing some odd jobs around here. And I think he says, you could do a few lubes around the place. And so you can raid my junk pile. And I was just, I had to put in my notes, not a euphemism.
That's so good.
God, yeah. Okay, so basically Arnie is excited about the prospect of Christine because she is a fixer-upper, and it's very similar to how he considers himself. That's where we get the queer, not ugly line.
Which, what the...
I actually think that it's a funny line because, of course, we do say queer as in weird. That's what this actually means for the time.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Oh.
I don't think so. No, I think queer... I mean, this is post-cruising. Like, queer is definitely a word people are using as a derogatory term.
Yeah, no, I guess you're right. Maybe I was trying to be a little generous.
You? What?
What? For a Tabitha! Joe's being generous!
Also,
what?
you and I have talked about the rampant homophobia of male characters in Stephen King novels. Like, this is 100... Which, granted, good. I mean, again, I don't think Dennis is an asshole or whatever, but I mean, like, we're definitely using queer as a slur here.
Okay, yeah, you know what? Now that you're bringing it up and I'm remembering the amount of conversations we've had about this specific issue within King's work, yes, okay, I will retract. I will pull back from that statement. It's interesting because it feels like part of the film's goal is to do a bit of a character resuscitation for Dennis. Like, you think he could be shitty like these other guys that we see, because he kind of starts off that way, but then he realizes over the course of the film he would like to be with a girl like Smart Slut, but also his friendship with someone like Arnie is very important to him. Like, he doesn't realize how important it is until it's gone.
But that is the thing, though. Like, we actually, because we see Dennis hanging out with Arnie, but we don't actually ever see Dennis hanging out with the football players. And so I don't understand how his social circles work.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? Well, with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills. Wait, did I say job title yet? Get started today and see how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
Campfire season's back, and that means s'mores. But when you're at home treating yourself, take them over ice with Dunkin' S'mores Cold Brew Concentrate. And suddenly you're always treating yourself. The home with Dunkin' is where you want to be. Click or tap the banner to shop now.
Acura's all-new ADX, a compact SUV that isn't just built for one thing. It's precision-crafted for everything. To escape the grind with available all-wheel drive. To go with your flow with available Google built-in.
Hey Google, turn it up.
Okay, turning up the volume. And crafted to be heard with an available Bang & Olufsen premium sound system. The all-new Acura ADX, crafted to match your energy. Acura, precision-crafted performance.
Take your vibes and go.
Google is a trademark of Google LLC.
No, this feels like an idealized version of high school, right? Where there's no cliques and Dennis is free to go between very socially different people.
Except, though, all of Dennis's football friends do make fun of Arnie and bully Arnie. So,
they do.
Like, what's... I don't get it. I don't get it.
Again, we just needed that line that said, oh, I'm beholden to this guy because he's my oldest friend.
Yeah.
We're sandbox fuck buds. Something like that.
Sandbox.
Sand fucks, yeah. So we jump ahead to October. So that was September, the first month of school. Now we're into October, and Arnie is making some good progress on Christine. This is where Darnell is appreciating his efforts. And it also means that Arnie's attention is more focused on that, which is leaving Dennis free to pursue Smart Slut. So he does try to ask her out in the library. This is where we see Roseanne casting a look at him, thinking he's going to ask her, but he just walks right by.
Actually, so, okay, that honestly, that should have been a recurring gag. So this is the second time this happens. And again, as we said, like, she's out of this movie after this scene. That could actually that would have served a. I mean, it would have been funny, maybe totally off, but like make that a recurring gag. Like just she
could be working at the drive-in, and he could like go to get food for them, and she's just like, "Hi."
Yeah.
Hi.
He and Lee are like in the bulldozer, and she's like, "Hey," he's like, "I gotta
go." She's just like, "I just came to drop off my mom's card." No, get the fuck out of here. Yeah. So the other thing that Dennis is doing at this point is because Arnie is starting to act differently, he's cussing, he's dressing differently, he's not spending as much time, we're not fucking in the sandbox as much. He decides he's going to gather some more backstory. So we do go back to LeBay and we learn more about the owner who previously expired. You know, we learn he died in the car. He had a child who died in the car. He didn't care when his wife died. So
I'm sorry, his wife killed herself, didn't just die. So like... 5-year-old daughter choked to death, wife killed herself, and then LeBay killed himself with monoxide poisoning. So
yeah. So it's basically this car is a family annihilator. If it was an actual human being, it would be a serial killer who's just taking out whole swaths of people. But because it's a car, we're like, oh, that's a weird story, isn't it? Okay. Doo-doo-doo.
I do actually like that we don't get too into like the rules of Christine, because they are very loose. I don't fully understand them, and I appreciate that the movie doesn't try to, because I think that would make it worse.
Hard agree. Yeah, this is definitely a villain origin story that I don't need to know a ton of, and I just need to know that Christine can repair herself and that she has a fixation with Arnie. That's all I need to know.
Why didn't she repair herself? Oh, I guess the idea was she has to be connected to someone to repair herself, because she was so dilapidated after her previous owner died.
Yeah, or maybe when your owner dies, you've then only got until the odometer hits 0. And if you haven't gotten a new person, then your time's up.
Because it counts backwards, which actually, that was how...
I do like that one.
That was how Stephen King got the idea, what the initial idea for the book was, because he had a car that the odometer ran backwards.
Oh, see, that's kind of fun. I love to hear a weirdo, just kind of bizarre origin story. Like, this is the genesis for this. I noticed this one thing, and then I spun it into a whole fucking book.
Exactly.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, but basically the other thing that we learn from this repeat visit to LeBay is that once Christine attaches to you, you're not going to get rid of her.
No. She's just like a sad little puppy dog.
I actually did expect this to come into play more. I thought at one point Arnie was going to have a change of heart, like Dennis and Smart Slut would manage to change his mind in some capacity, and he would try to either send her away or they would try to bust her up. And then I thought she was going to be wreaking revenge on Arnie and Dennis. So it was interesting that we just basically turn Arnie into a de facto villain in this film.
Yeah,
that was unexpected.
Again, I like it in theory, and I mean, I like how we go dark and like actually kill him at the end. But at the same time, like it just feels like
we needed a little bit more, right? Like it felt I don't want to say unearned, because I could definitely see it moving. We just needed more scenes.
Yeah, like, but that's the thing. It feels so, his change feels so fast or abrupt. Yeah. But again, I'm saying over the course of a 2-hour movie, like, it shouldn't feel like that.
Yeah. But to the point where I'm like, well, think of how many side conversations we've had about some of these other things. Like, and I appreciate you need Darnell so you can have that scene. I appreciate that we need 3 thugs so that we can have 2 different stalk and kill sequences. Like, I kind of get why we do things the way we do. I just still feel like it comes at a cost of Arnie and Dennis's arcs as characters.
I fully agree.
Yeah. Okay, so I did like the moment where Dennis sneaks into Darnell so that he can see, okay, Arnie's work on Christine is nearly complete. Yes, the odometer has dropped down from where it was originally, but he can't get in. I only made one musical cue note in this because I did enjoy the needle drop of Little Richard's Keep a Knockin'.
Oh, yeah. I clocked one as well, but it's at the very end.
Yeah, because, I mean, as you said, we were using a lot of rock and roll songs, and it does help to give Christine a lot of character. But to me, this was, oh, Christine is cheeky. It's not like, get the fuck away from me, get the fuck away from me.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, no, I'm saying you can knock, but I'm not going to let you in because you are not Arnie. You are not my owner.
This is like an early inspiration for Bumblebee from the Transformers. Like, she communicates through the radio, but it's all 50s, like, rock and roll songs.
Oh my God, Michael Bay, you owe reparations. As if Bumblebee didn't, do this before. I'm sure Hasbro is probably like, maybe it's the other way around.
I was going to say, the Transformers is definitely the 80s.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe we were feeding off something in the collective consciousness at the time. Cars with personalities. I mean, this movie really is an ode to people's fixation with their cars. And, I made a joke about Crash, and you mentioned something about
something else.
Yeah. It was obviously less important than what I said. But.
P.S. though, Transformers, like the first line of toys comes out the year after this.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Maybe they were taking inspiration. Who knows?
Okay, I'm going to keep going. Can you look up another fact for me? When did Hot Wheels come out?
I got your answer.
Okay, cool.
1968 was Hot Wheels.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. It was the primary competitor of Matchbox until Mattel bought Matchbox owner Tyco Toys in 97.
I don't think I know what Matchbox is.
Well,
I'm assuming it's a car thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they haven't existed since 1997. So there you go.
There we go. Why would I know? How could I know? How
you were only 15.
Yeah. Shut up.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's play Crop Top Football Trace. So we've got Dennis out on the field with all of his boys. We're performing reasonably well. This scene basically just exists so that we can do the reveal of, oh my God, Arnie shows up in this cherry car. It is so striking. You practically hear the record scratch as everybody notices. Like, holy shit, the geek has a girl and a hot rod.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and no one is more surprised than Dennis because he flubs this pretty bad.
He really does, yeah. And I think the part that I laughed at, and I don't think it's meant to be funny, but I couldn't help myself, is when he does end up, basically just eating shit in this tackle. Afterwards, as they're kind of carrying his body off on the stretcher, we get this ominous sting on the soundtrack as if to say, oh, Christine's responsible for this. And all I could think of was, John Carpenter. No, she is not. Dennis is the one who was like, well, I took my eyes off the playing field because my friend has a hot girlfriend in a hot car. Like, this is firmly Dennis's fault that he got injured.
Because I was going to say, I guess maybe the insinuation could be, Christine helped Arnie get Smart Slut. But then it's like, well, no, that's not the case, though, because Christine wants Arnie just for herself. So, like, she wouldn't ever set Arnie up with another girl.
Yeah, unless she's like, oh, I like my men confident, so then I can steal them away from human smart sluts.
I guess, honestly, I kind of want a voiceover from Christine.
Ooh, okay. Who would do the voice if you could pick a contemporary actor?
Oh, God.
I do like an Emily Blunt. Give her that sophisticated kind of semi-British accent.
I feel like you need like a deep voice woman, like with like a smooth, sultry voice.
Ooh, how about we go with a slutty woman? We could do like a Rue McClanahan.
Oh my God. I was going for Kate Blanchett, but I love your suggestion so much more.
Folks, if someone wants to make a video of like a Rue McClanahan line from Golden Girls and just put it onto footage of Christine, I would love that.
Honestly, that's just Pixar's Cars.
Ew, no. That shit is creepier than anything we're seeing in this movie.
Well, that's a bad movie, so I've only seen the first Cars, y'all, so don't hate on me, but Cars 1 sucks.
Yes, it absolutely does. Okay, so it's now November, and Arnie goes to visit Dennis in the hospital, and essentially he's just a completely different person. Like, his priorities are different, he's talking differently, so it just seems like, oh, these two are at very different places now.
Mm-hmm. And then this is really when we start losing Arnie from this story.
There's a little bit more. So we actually have to have him go on this date with Lee. This is where we will finally learn her fucking name, folks. 43 minutes into this movie, we learn that this woman's name is Lee. But they go to the drive-in and they're making out, because this is what you go to drive-ins for if you're a teenager. And she touches his dick and then just immediately goes, I can't. And you're gonna think I'm so mean. I was like, is it too big? Is it too small? It's like, oh, micro penis. No, I can't do this. I'm sorry. I gotta go.
But here's the thing, though. So she is already very wary of this car.
Yeah.
And I feel like we have missed a chunk of this.
100%. Yeah, we didn't see how they got together. We don't know anything about how she feels about him, except for the fact that apparently we're making out, so there's some kind of connection. And yeah, it's this moment where we're maybe about to go to second, third base, and she's just like, no, I can't. Oh, but it's your car. It's absolutely the car.
Did it not like pull in Death Proof for you when it's a butterfly being like, it's your car?
Yeah. I mean, I do like the idea of people getting a read off of someone based on their car or just having a bad feeling, because I do feel like cars are truly an extension of people in ways that other inanimate objects that, capitalist society encourages us to consume. Like, if you see a phone, you don't go like, oh, I'm getting a bad feeling about that person based on their phone. Maybe a phone case, but like a car is such an expensive piece of equipment. It really says like, you spent a lot of money to make this fit who you are. So if this car is homicidal, it's giving off bad juju. What does that say about Arnie?
Yeah, but nevertheless, though, like, this is the first time we've seen Lee interact with this car, and she's afraid immediately. So I'm just like, wait, I feel like, we know, the audience know that we are in a killer car movie.
Mm-hmm. When did she learn that?
Exactly.
Yeah. So we have like a full-on fight over this, and then Arnie notices that the windshield wiper isn't working. This was obviously a ploy from Christine to get him out of the interior.
Which I love, by the way. Like, I love that she's like baiting him out of the car.
I love it. It's a Rue McClanahan's voice. Sugar, get out here and fix my windshield wiper so I can take care of that dumb slut.
Yep.
I do have to say, though, I don't think a ton of this is incredibly stylish in terms of like the way John Carpenter directs it. Like, I like a lot of the stalking scenes, but the way the light is on Lee's face, and she even acknowledges it. It's not like it's a cinematic technique for us. She says, there was this light that came on and I couldn't get out. And I just think this sequence to me was one of the highlights.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and I think the lighting, it is the brightest thing I've seen in a movie in quite some time.
Yeah, like she could be getting pulled into a UFO based on this light.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of hate that it's like just quote unquote a choking thing, but I get it. We can't show our cards too soon with this car and have it like, wrap a seatbelt around her neck and break her head.
Yeah, and this is definitely one of those don't think too much about the logistics, because how does the car make someone choke on a piece of presumably hamburger? It's like,
yes,
we just go with it because she's inside the car. So yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, but it looks really cool.
It looks really cool. Yeah. So she finally manages to get out. This man passing by ends up giving her the Heimlich. I don't understand Arnie getting mad at this and saying, I thought he was attacking you. I was just like, no, this is bad screenplay writing, because even a teenage boy you would not think that. Like, you clearly see she's choking, and then this man is helping her.
I think though what we're supposed to get from this is that no, it's the influence of Christine. He's like a rage machine right now, and so
okay.
I think him saying that was his excuse after not fully like. I'm not saying that Arnie isn't complicit in what he's doing, because obviously he still makes the choices, but like,
sure.
I think the idea is like, yeah, there are times, especially in the early stages of his transition, where it's like,
he's just not in his right head, right?
Yes, exactly that.
Okay. Yeah, I could buy that. It just, on the first time watch, I thought, this does not play as smoothly as it maybe needs to. But
oh, for sure. I mean, again, I'm saying that because I think that's what we're supposed to get. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So we end up driving her home. We're still talking about the car. She's basically saying, I don't like your car because it makes me feel afraid, especially after what just happened where I nearly died. And he's like, you sound jealous of Christine. What's that all about?
Oh my God.
I mean, it is kind of funny if you pull back from this, because it does sound as if we're talking about another woman in the relationship. Like, there's threats of infidelity, or it's a threesome that's not working or something. And then you realize, oh, the third party is the car.
I mean, he tells her, don't you blame your choking on Christine.
An actual line uttered in this movie. Yes.
And then he's like, oh, you're just sexually frustrated. It's like, dude.
No, Arnie, that's you. That's like, we skipped over it. There's a very funny line when Dennis is about to go and ask Lee out in the library, and the other guys are like, you better go and do this before you knock the table over, because like the suggestion is that he's got such a raging hard on. And I kind of feel like that's a bit of a subtitle for this entire movie. Like, it's sexually frustrated boys who need to ram their cars into things.
Well, but the car is sexually frustrated too, because Lee even says in this scene, Arnie, sometimes when we're making out, it stalls, as if the car were jealous, Arnie. And again, I love that she's already put this together. I wish we could have seen that.
Yeah. And then we kind of get it in action, but not when Lee is here to witness it, because he ends up going back to his car, and then he can't get Christine to start. And he essentially has to apologize and kind of placate and be like, no, baby, I love you more. Like, never mind that smart slut. I don't even care about her. I only care about you, baby. Now, can you start for me? I need to get home.
Show me.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got Buddy and his friends then sneaking into the garage, and this is when we do the devastation on Christine. So we really just go to fucking town on this car and destroy the shit out of it.
Yeah, and the fact that no one is here to see this too, I mean, whatever, but...
Yeah, I mean, everything about Darnell's tells me it's either a 24-hour lot, or that, he seems like the kind of guy who would have a pit bull on the prowl or something. Anyway, it's fine. These guys go in and destroy the car, as we knew they would. And it's very upsetting, because when Arnie comes in the next day, he sees his baby has been completely destroyed. And he first takes it out on Lee, and then he takes it out on his parents.
Okay, also though, like, he takes it out on Lee right after suggesting that they apply to the same colleges.
I know. Yeah. When things are great, we're going to the same college. When things are bad, fuck you, I hate you so much.
Oh, and he says, don't touch her, shitter! Like, calls Lee a shitter.
Yeah, and again, you're just like, that's not a word that he's used before, and it's so specific. Where have we heard that before? Oh my God, he's really emulating all of these other characteristics of previous drivers.
Yeah.
I just read in my notes, oh, Arnie, you've changed.
But I will say, though, this scene with his parents, like, when he actually, like, grabs his dad by the neck, this is appropriately intense. I was even like, oh, shit, dude.
It is confronting, because you're like, okay, he had not a tense relationship, but there was a little bit of a, I'm a teenage boy, I'm growing up, and you need to let me become my own person. Like, just because I'm living under your roof doesn't mean I'm always going to be your little boy. So I like that we move from that to then this, because I'll confess, there was a moment when I was a teenager, I got really fucking mad at my dad, and I was strong enough that I did something similar to this, and it kind of haunts me, because it's almost like stepping outside of your own body, where you realize, oh, I'm so driven by hormones at this moment, I am not acting rationally.
Oh my God. I don't think you've ever told me this story, or I'm sorry, told everyone this story. That's wild.
Yeah, it's something we've never spoken of. It's the only, like, true moment of any kind of violence we have ever had. Like, my parents would spank me, but that was also back in the 80s, so that's a thing that was happening.
Oh, I was spanked throughout all the 90s. Like, I get it.
Yeah, and where you're just like, yeah, sometimes I was a little shit and I needed to, like, get bent over a knee. But not in that way. Not a euphemism.
Do you remember in The Visit, like, Catherine Hahn's character, there's this whole, like, the whole movie is built around, like, her kind of thing where it's like, oh, I did something to my parents that was unforgivable and blah, blah, blah. And at the very end, it's that she hit her mother.
Yeah. Because it's the kind of thing where we expect to see it the other way around, right? Like, we're almost used to seeing parents disciplining / abusing their children as a way of, like, maintaining control, reasserting their dominance, and so on. But whenever we see a child use violence against, like, an authority figure or their parents more specifically, it feels really shocking.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you can even see it in his dad's eyes when this happens, you know? Like, it is like...
He's, like, surprised and scared.
Yeah, and I think that's the key. And that at least sells this scene for me. Like, the dad... Both parents look scared of their child.
Yeah, like, who is this person? This is not the individual we knew. And of course, for them, it is a really easy correlation. Like, this is, you got the car, and now this is what you're doing. We can trace it right back.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is when Arnie goes and asks Christine to reveal herself, and we get this incredible moment of practical effects as the car is back to perfection.
Yeah, this looks awesome. So
it's so great.
Okay, here's a rundown of what happens. So basically, the special effects guy from The Thing, Arbogast, I always think of Psycho every time.
I was going to say, did we push him down the stairs after he completed work on the phone?
So he created a plastic paneled body double of Christine, specifically designed to look like metal when it was put on camera.
Okay, cool.
Once completed, he installed hydraulic pumps inside and attached the pumps to cables, which were then attached to the plastic body panels of the car.
Right.
When compressed, these hydraulic pumps suck in the paneling, causing it to bend and deform, making it appear like a car panel that's been smashed or dented. So,
right.
To create the illusion that the car was repairing itself, you're right. The filmmakers reversed the footage of the crumpling car body, making it seem as if it was regaining its original form rather than being dented and crumpled. But right. I love that it had to be plastic, I guess, because maybe the metal wouldn't have, like, looked brand new. Interestingly enough, this was all meant to be done off screen.
Oh, really? Oh, my God. I can't even imagine. Like, to me, I mean, I mentioned I like Lee's strangulation thing, if only because of the way it's lit. But, like, this is clearly this is the moment in the film, right?
It looks so good. But basically, yeah, they were like feeling it was going to be one of those things that's like, oh, yeah, like Arnie walks in and all of a sudden the car is fixed again. Like, that's what was going to happen.
Oh, no. I can't. That would be so much less impactful.
Oh, absolutely. So Carpenter was like, we need more juice in this scene or something. And so
yes, we do.
He told Arbogast, he was like, can you come up with anything that we can do? Even just showing like a piece of it. And this guy just came up with the whole fucking idea.
Oh, my God. That is wild. That's one of those, okay, it has to come together, but we probably don't have a ton of money or a ton of time. What have you got?
Mm-hmm.
I love it. It's movie magic.
It's good. I mean, this is 1983. If this was ever remade, which, by the way, like...
Oh, yes. That was the other thing. I know it's a bit of a trite game for us to play, but I was 100% like, how have we not gotten a remake of this? And I saw on the Wikipedia page, apparently Brian Fuller was attached to remake this in, I want to say 2021 it was announced, and nothing has come of that, so it is probably not happening.
Well, yeah, and that's also like the producers of that were Jason Blum and Vincenzo Natali.
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
That's an interesting combination.
Which, again, like Brian Fuller, like, okay, queer up that Arnie and Dennis relationship.
Truly, yeah. And it's not as if Vincenzo Natali doesn't know how to do weird sex shit, too.
Exactly.
Oh my God, we would have had them fucking in the car, the car fucking them.
I'm like 99.9% certain this is not happening, but
it's
not
happening.
We could have had a Brian Fuller blank, like, that's like our refrain all the time.
Literally. Yes. We would just like to see more from him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One final piece about this sequence, we referred to it as a bit of a sex scene earlier. If for no other reason, then we're getting this kind of jazzy score set to it. Like, this is a literal seduction to the dark side.
Oh, absolutely. Like, as I said, like, this is a striptease.
Yeah. It's pretty great.
It's really, I mean, this is the centerpiece of the film for me.
Yeah. But we still have our revenge to get, Trace. So we're going to start with Moochie. We're going to go after him.
Ooh.
This guy deserves what he gets because, I mean, I'm not going to say it's Charlize Theron and Prometheus levels of dumb, but he definitely is like, I'm going to run away from all of the lights and all of the people and go to the darkest, quietest part of town and then end up getting trapped in an alley.
Okay, but the fact that he doesn't jump over Christine as she's like driving into the little nook he's like hidden in is also really silly.
I mean, I guess it'd be terrifying because the one thing I really did appreciate about this is how aggressive Christine is, where the car itself will not fit into that space, which is part of the reason he thinks he's safe. And the car destroys itself to get to him.
Yes. Also, this is my needle drop here. It's so I only knew the tune. It's the I know it from Matilda, but
oh, okay.
The song is Little Bitty Pretty One by Thurston Harris and the Sharps, and I can't help but think that the title song of that is because Moochie is an overweight character.
Yeah, this definitely felt like a bit of a classic Stephen King character in terms of like, oh, he's fat. That probably means he's villainous and or he's weak, which I think we could maybe make the argument for both. That's why he's probably killed off first. But I don't know. Even this, though, right? Like, I realize when we got to this part, I thought, okay, so we're going to save Buddy for last because he's the sort of big bad until something needs to happen between Arnie and Dennis, clearly. But I just thought, who is Moochie? Like, who is Buddy? When was the last time we've seen Buddy? It just... Like, I know we saw them destroy Christine, but it just feels like they're so generic Stephen King villainous archetypes. Like, they're bad, shitty teenagers, and you know what you got.
Yeah, and again, like, compare Buddy and Moochie and whoever the other one is.
I was going to say, tell me the other guy's name.
Exactly.
I think I'll tell you later.
But to Chris and Norma and one of the other girls and Carrie, you know, like they have so much more life in them than these guys because we don't really know these characters at all.
And we said we wanted more of those characters in Carrie, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it just feels sometimes like we go a little easy on the villains because we just have to say, well, you saw them with a switchblade. You saw them mouthing off to a teacher. So you know what you got, right? These are bad dudes. And it's like, yeah, okay, but that's also narrative shortcuts.
Oh, yeah, because I want Buddy's face to get scraped off just like butterflies in Death Proof.
Man, yeah. I mean, that's kind of the other reason to remake this movie is that you could go harder on the carnage.
Ooh, you absolutely could.
Because, like, I'm not going to lie. Okay, so, yeah, guess what, everybody? Moochie doesn't make it out of this, but we basically cut to black before we see him get crushed or anything. But then when Arnie learns about this, when he's questioned by Detective Rudolph Junkins, who's played by Harry Dean Stanton, we get this. I know, I love it. And he's in it for 2 scenes. He has no role to play in this movie, but whatever.
There are a couple more deleted scenes, by the way, where he grills Arnie a bit more.
Okay.
And I think they're good scenes, but it's also like, it's kind of redundant because he's already kind of grilled him.
He's clearly on to Arnie. And I mean, I have thoughts about the ending and what it sort of means, like, but we'll get there. But we get this description of what happened to Moochie where Junkins says, the kid was cut in half. They had to scrape his legs up with a shovel. And I just thought, we could have seen that.
Oh, yes. But okay, Arnie's reply to that is wonderful. Isn't that what you're supposed to do with shit? Scrape it up with a little shovel?
Shitters.
I love it so much.
Yeah. Okay, so Arnie calls Lee up to say that he loves her, but she's still very confused. She doesn't know how to feel about him, so she doesn't really say much of anything. And he says, well, you can't be straight with him.
Ooh,
and she still doesn't really know what to say. So he just immediately pivots and says, fuck you, bitch. And I was just like, oh, there we go. There's the toxic masculinity, male entitlement, you know, teenage boyness of it all, just very nicely encapsulated.
And I think, again, this is a deleted scene where it's like 15 seconds long, but I think it's an extension of this scene where Lee dumps him basically over the phone.
Okay. Yeah.
Again, it's like 15 seconds. I don't know why it was cut, but there it is.
For pacing, probably.
15 seconds, man.
Yeah, 15 seconds for the pacing. Just really drag the movie down. You know what? They probably had some kind of test screening in, like, Texas. And,
oh, my God. Everyone, go listen to our episode from last week on disturbing behavior.
Okay, so we've gotten rid of Moochie. Let's take care of the others. This is really basically like a 3 for 1. I feel bad for this other person who kind of just gets caught in the mix.
Oh, it's like a gas station attendant. I feel a little robbed by this, actually. Yeah, because we just knocked these guys out in one go. Like, why don't we have 3 set pieces with Christine killing these guys?
Yeah, again, it just feels almost expeditious, where Christine just pulls up. You know, we've got a bit of a stalk and chase because obviously she's flashing her high beams at them. They end up pulling into the gas station thinking that they're going to be safe, and then Christine just knocks them directly into the gas station, ramming this car. So this is how we end up taking out Rich. That would be the third member of our group, played by Stephen Tash. But also, yes, this Mike White lookalike Vanderberg, who is the gas station attendant, played by Stuart Charno. And this whole thing just goes explosive.
Yeah, but Buddy's not dead yet. Buddy's still outside watching all this happen.
Yes, yeah. But of course, he doesn't have a car now because that also went up. And we should note that we do get this fantastic visual image of Christine on fire, chasing him down. And here's the thing. It looks great. And it's pretty exciting. But also, we just hear him get hit, and then we see the body land, and it's on fire, and that's pretty cool. But I just thought, no, this is meant to be the big villain. Like, Moochie got a better death sequence than Buddy did.
I actually thought the cut was really weird here, because you're right. Like, we're in the POV of Christine as we're chasing Buddy down this highway, and we keep, showing Christine on fire to make sure we know she's still there and she's still on fire.
Yes.
But yeah, the edit's really weird. Like, it feels like we're missing a
frame or two.
Yes, a little bit.
Yeah. It's fine. It doesn't hit, I think, the way it probably should. In some ways, if you had said this was the first victim, like if this was the first person we were taking out, never mind the fact that Christine is obviously on fire and she needs to have a lot of repair work done as a result, but like the sort of nonchalantness of, okay, well, that's Buddy taken care of, cool. I guess this is me now talking myself back. It's because this isn't the climax of the film. Like, we're meant to realize, oh, now we need to focus on Arnie and Dennis. But I don't feel like the movie has set that up properly. So part of me was like, okay, so where do we go from here?
Yeah, it's kind of a thing where, and again, maybe there's an adaptation choice that would have to be different, but yeah, you need to, I think, either pick the bullies as your main story, or you need to pick the love triangle as your main story, or love square, because Christine is part of it.
Truly.
And
we're dividing our attention, and as a result, both of them just feel slightly underbaked.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. Like these bully scenes almost feel shoehorned in here.
A little bit, yeah. Like, how do we get a couple of extra kills? How do we make sure everybody knows, oh, high school still sucks?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, luckily no one was sitting in Carpenter's ear going, can you make it bloodier, make it bloodier, make it bloodier? So.
No. Okay, so we do get almost immediately another death because Christine goes back to Darnell's. Obviously, this car looks, it was set on fire and then the fire went out. So it looks like a burnt up husk, and Darnell is freaked out by this. So he pulls a shotgun on Christine and then he tries to get in. So we just lock him in, and then he gets crushed between the seat and the steering wheel. And I was just like, I don't even know why this is in here.
Yeah, I mean, again, this feels like, because...
I mean, I think the reason it's in here is because someone close to Arnie who he didn't necessarily want to see killed had to go, so that he understood, oh, this isn't just about getting revenge against my bullies. But also, I feel like we don't actually get to that realization for him either.
Yeah, and this is something they said in the extra features a lot, because the deaths were apparently another thing that was changed for the movie. And
okay.
But like the same people die, but they said that, we had to like do the deaths differently to make them a little bit more cinematic. And I was like, what does that mean?
Oh, they don't elaborate on it.
No, that's all they say. So it's the thing where I'm like, okay, I wonder if maybe the book is a bit more graphic and gross, or I don't know. I really don't know. But again, we're keeping this scene in here because I'm sure Darnell gets killed in the book.
Right. Yeah. I mean, folks, I'll confess, I truly don't know if I care enough to have people let us know. I'm sure some of you probably will, because you guys love to let us know.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if maybe it was just like many of the deaths were of the buddy nature where people get run over. And it's like, well, we need to shake that up. We can't just have 5 different people get run over. We need to do something a little visually different.
Oh, maybe that is it. Maybe it's just quote unquote, like running over. So we're like, okay, cool. Like, let's do a Moochie set piece where he's like trapped in this like nook in the alley or something. I don't know. Everyone, actually, I'm curious. If these are, if there are really gory deaths in the book, I would like to know.
There we go. Yeah. Maybe you should let Trace know if he should actually go back and revisit the book, because
I tried twice. Maybe third time's the charm.
I thought you were going to say, no, I've tried twice. I'm done. Thank you.
Well,
Goodbye.
I was about to, but then I was like, no, I'll be positive.
Okay, so because we've had another murder or several murders, Junkins is back to questioning Arnie, and we also have Lee starting to make a connection with Dennis, because even though apparently we have broken up, it's like the two people who care about Arnie as a person outside of his relationship with Christine, they need to come together and figure out what's going on. So it's now nearly New Year's Eve, and Dennis is out of the hospital, so he talks to her about the dark history of the car. This feels slightly redundant. It's not a particularly long scene, but it does feel like, hey, everybody, do you remember that the people who were involved with the car died? Because here we go again.
You know what? This scene is extended in the deleted scenes. And
okay.
I like it, but now that you say that it's redundant, I'm kind of like, oh, that's right. I bet that's why it was cut, though. So this is actually cut down because, yes, we, the audience, already know all this stuff, but Lee doesn't know all this stuff.
No.
And it seems like either, A, you should move this conversation up, or you should save the conversation for this, you know?
Yeah, it's a little bit weird, because I think the other reason the scene... this one specifically where Lee and Dennis compare notes, the reason it's in here and at this point in the film is so that we can start to really shoehorn in this awkward burgeoning romance between the two of them. And I'm not saying it's like we don't see them kiss in this, we don't see them, hold hands or anything, but we do get a lot of like arm around the shoulder.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm comforting you, but also if Arnie wasn't in the picture, we would definitely be fucking.
Well, and so that's the thing, is there is a deleted scene where they do kiss and it's witnessed by Arnie and he goes nuts.
But I feel like that would make more sense in setting up the climax.
I think it would too. Yeah, I truly don't know why it was cut.
Yeah. I will say, though, even this scene, I wrote in my notes, wait, what are we doing this? Are we trying to put these two together? Because it just doesn't feel entirely organic. Like, these two have not talked to each other since the time he asked her out back in September. So it's been nearly 4 months since they have talked.
So to be generous then, what if the idea is that we're just meant to view them platonically? Maybe, again, well, the fact that there is a kissing scene that was deleted, like, gets rid of that. But without that scene, could you watch this and say, oh no, they're just being platonic. Like, there's not a romance going on here.
I think so. I think you could read this as Dennis is actually a nicer guy than we realized, than probably Lee took him for. He's got a higher emotional intellect than many of the other teen boys. So he sees someone who is hurting and he wants to try to comfort her.
Because I do think Dennis is a genuinely nice person,
Yeah. I mean, he's kind of boring, but he's cute. And I mean, he's very standard protagonist.
Yeah.
In the ways that Hollywood movies like to do this, right? You kind of root for him, even though he's not super interesting, but it's like, all right, well, whatever.
Football made him interesting, and he doesn't have that anymore, so...
It's true.
Better find a personality!
I was going to say, you need to pivot, buddy, because what you got now? Nothing. Oh, shit. Okay, so we decide we're going to try to broach the issue about what is going on with Arnie, because we're going to spend New Year's with him. Dennis and Arnie are. So Arnie comes to pick him up, and it's like, cool, we've got him for that brief moment alone, because we don't know that Christine is a sentient being yet. And we just kind of start things off. We're right on the wrong foot, because Dennis inadvertently is talking shit about Christine, like, oh, your fucking car again, blah, blah, blah. And Arnie is no nonsense. You don't want to talk about my car that way.
Yeah. So again, this scene is also extended on the deleted scenes. like in the cut we watch, you know, we have Arnie saying something like, "We'll always be friends as long as you stick with me," and and you know what happens to shitters who don't. So this is right here like a threat to his friend.
100%, yes.
But there is a line in the deleted scene that again I really like. He says like at some point, "Christine is in control now," and
interesting.
I think it's weird that they cut that, but maybe it's because it's I don't know, it's giving too much power to Christine, or I don't know. But with the extensions on it that are deleted, like this scene comes across as much more sinister on Arnie's side, and I like that.
100%. Yeah. It seems like he is either fully in control or he is, I mean, I said complicit earlier, but it seems like he and Christine are on the same page. And it's kind of like, Dennis, you're my friend, but also you don't want to cross me because bad things happen to the people who do.
Exactly. Oh, also, we can't forget, there's nothing finer than being behind the wheel of your own car, except maybe for pussy.
Yeah, which is like, so are we meant to assume that he has slept with Lee then?
Oh, yeah, because he's a virgin. No, I don't think so. I don't think. But again, that's Christine saying that.
Right.
Kinda.
Or the possessed LeBay, because it still definitely feels more like, oh, we're carrying this over from the book, even though it's not actually in the film.
That is what it is, but in the movie, it's not.
It just, it doesn't fully work. Like, it's such a vulgar thing to say. Like, even when he's swearing, you're like, well, he's not gross. But then when he says this line, you think, oh, shit, that's a bit nasty for this teenage boy.
Yes, very much so. But I didn't even think about the fact that he was a virgin still. Because you're right, he totally is. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I guess the other final piece, like, folks, you'll have noticed we've not really talked more about the homoerotic tension or the undertones, in part because Dennis and Arnie don't share virtually any scenes from the back half of the film. But in this scene where they are together again, when Dennis apologizes, we do have Arnie say, "Good boy." And I was just like, there's definite... I mean, I think this is me overreaching a little bit and reading into the kind of like kinkiness of it. But considering so much of this is about control issues, I thought it was kind of fun that Arnie is like, oh, you're basically making your fuckboy acquiesce to you.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're talking to a dog, good boy has an immediate sexual like connotation to me.
Yeah, exactly. And again, maybe not so much in 1983, but nowadays I hear that and I'm just like, oh, are we going to do a little bit of
pup play?
More or less, yeah.
Yeah.
Just spending New Year's, in our masks and leashes and so on.
Arnie pulls out that dog mask. I'm not king shaming.
I was going to say Brian Fuller's Christine.
Actually, no, that should be Cujo.
Oh my God. Folks, we didn't even cast a dog. We just cast like a pup.
Oh my God. Actually, would watch.
Actually, you know what? That's the porn parody. Is that saliva or is he just happy to see you?
Yep.
Okay, so because we are teenage boys and it's the 80s, we do drink and drive as we get ready for New Year's here. And this is where we get the threat about he needs to stay on his and Christine's good side or else Dennis is going to discover some bad things. I do like this moment where Arnie kind of gets philosophical about the dangers of Christine's voracious love. I was like, oh, that's quite the line. That's quite the sentiment.
Voracious love. That's a song title.
Yeah. So after all of this, Dennis, I think, realizes, I think the car has got to go. There's no reasoning with Arnie. So we're just into the next day and we see Dennis keying Christine saying Darnell's midnight. And so we know we're going to try to set this trap. It's Dennis and Lee. They've got this plan. We're going to lock Christine in. She's going to hide in the office and make sure that the key or the switch or whatever the fuck gets flipped. Who cares? It's a plan that never comes to fruition because Christine's smarter than both of these teenagers.
This is actually one of those things where it kind of reminds me of that ending of It Follows, where it's like these kids don't know what they're doing, and so they're just coming up with this ridiculous plan. But I gotta say, it's not even a scare, but I do love the reveal of Christine like under the junk.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty good. Like, haha, motherfuckers, I've been here the whole time. And guess what? I'm about to plow you down because you thought you were pulling a trick on me. No, I got you.
This is the only time I actually had like a pulse racing moment. Is like, because Lee's like out in the open, but we're boxed in. And so she's like right by the office. And we barely sideswipe her, almost miss her, almost get her. But this, I was kind of like, oh, like, okay, good. Like, good movie. Like, get my pulse racing again. And that it doesn't. But this was a good moment.
Yeah, it reminded me a little bit of like Tremors.
Yeah,
like if Tremors was a car, because you're out in the open and you got nowhere to go, and it's like you're not faster than this thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But thankfully, we do have a Caterpillar bulldozer in this giant fucking garage that Darnell owned, which I'm not going to say it's like a TARDIS, but all of a sudden this place seemed to be about 50% larger than all the previous scenes that we had seen them in, because there's way more cars, and all of a sudden, yes, we've got this bulldozer. So
the way, because it's also like it's opened up, like it's cleared out, and I just said, oh, well, Darnell died, so
we're liquidating or we're moving everything out. Yeah,
I guess.
Sure, I can buy it. Anyway, all this to say, we've got Dennis using the bulldozer to try to protect. Sorry, I was like,
you forgot her name already.
Yep, I totally did. So we've got Dennis using the bulldozer to try to protect Lee, and Christine is real mad. So I do love these scenes of her sort of trapped within this industrial grade equipment, and then we've got Christine trying to ram her at all sides. I was like, there's another sexual euphemism visually captured, but teenage boys coming at her from every side.
She's trying to force herself in.
Yeah. We can kind of break this down piece by piece if we want to, but the gist of it is that we end up using the bulldozer to pin Christine in place. But this is only after we have realized, oh, wow, Christine can heal herself, because she's ramming this bulldozer a bunch and then she'll just kind of like pop back up into place.
Yes.
So we have to pin her to the ground so that she can't do that. And each time we think that we've got her, the headlights go out. So it happens a couple of times, and it's always a fucking fake out because Christine is a showboat.
She's like, just kidding.
Just kidding. I'm still okay. I'm still going to try to murder you. But
still alive.
I do really, yeah, she's got 9 lives. I do like this moment. I mean, this is the climax, so you would hope that it's going to recapture something of that reconstruction sex scene from earlier. But it's pretty satisfying watching Dennis just drive this bulldozer right over her. Like, it reminded me of monster truck rallies.
Oh my God. Have you ever been to one?
I think I went to one when I was a kid, but I don't. I don't know if it's something I just watched on TV or if I was there live. I remember the sound is so fucking loud. So.
You have to wear earplugs. My dad, that was my dad and my sister and I's thing, because like when he realized I didn't like going to sports games, he was like, "What can I take Trace to?" And
how about things where things are destroyed?
Oh, I loved monster truck rallies so much. But Joe, I think we skipped over Arnie's death.
Oh my God, yeah, we did. Yeah, because because we have this moment where we think that Christine has been bleh, like she's been gotten rid of temporarily. So Lee makes a run for the office as planned, and Christine, of course, is not done. So she rams the office a couple of times, I think, and Arnie just goes right through the windshield, and he ends up getting impaled on this big piece of glass. Okay, so we should also note that at this point we have heard Arnie while Christine is doing the ramming. We've heard him in the driver's seat yelling out something like, "I'm gonna get you, shitters," or something like that.
He definitely yells, "You shitters!"
Yeah. And does it sound like shitty ADR? Yes, it does.
Yeah.
But this was the kind of moment where I was like, all right, so I guess this is us having to infer that Arnie has at least been behind the wheel for a couple of these murders, or maybe just this last act where he and Christine are fully in cahoots. But I truly didn't know how to feel about his death. Like, I think there's a poignancy when he takes the bloody hand and he presses it to the grill and we see Christine's headlights go out. Like, I liked that a lot. And like you said earlier, I was surprised that we actually have the balls to kill this kid. But it feels like the movie also wants us to feel bad about this, like, oh no, this poor boy. But then I thought, what what is the message of this movie? Like, don't get too fucking attached to your car. It'll turn you into a killer.
Well, because here's the thing, though. So the song that plays after Arnie dies is a blues ballad called Pledging My Love, which the opening lyrics for this are, "Forever, my darling, my love will be true. Always and forever, I'll love only you." So this is actually, I think, meant to be a very sad moment for Christine.
Okay, yeah. Which, again, means that we've kind of changed our focalization for the film. Like, this is one of those things where I'm like, I wish we could have invested more of Arnie in the back half of the film so we could at least understand how he feels. Because so much of it just feels like what we see in a possession film. Like, honestly, I was getting some Prom Night 2 Hello, Mary Lou vibes where you're like, is Arnie even in there? Does he understand what's happening to him?
So, okay, let me read you how the book ends, because this is also very, very, very different. It says, while Arnie is out of town, Dennis and Lee lure Christine to the garage and batter her to pieces using a septic tanker truck. Dennis sees LeBay's spirit attempting to make him stop before the wreckage is crushed.
Okay.
But then that's it, apparently. Dennis then learns that Arnie and his mother were both killed in a highway accident after Christine killed Arnie's father. Witness accounts lead Dennis to believe that LeBay's spirit, tied to Arnie through Christine, fled the car and attempted to possess Arnie, but Arnie fought him, causing the wreck, killing him and his mother.
Wow. Okay. So
There's
that's
a lot.
a bit of a redemption for Arnie, where he refused to sort of go to the dark side, but it still got him in the end. Yeah. That is very Stephen King-y too.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like maybe like the murder of his father has kind of like maybe brought him back a little bit. I don't know. But either way, so he's not even present for this climax. He dies apparently like, well, not off page. Is that what we call in the book?
Yeah, I guess so. The equivalent of. Okay, so how do you feel about this end? Because I do agree. Like the moment between Arnie and Christine, I find very touching. I think it works really fucking well. But yeah, then I was like, so what do we make of this film? Because we'll discover that all of these murders will be pinned on Arnie by Detective Junkins, who's basically going to say, oh yeah, this kid just killed a bunch of these folks with his car and the case is now closed. So it paints it not in a tragic light, but more, oh wow, okay, so this boy's reputation is just going to be that he was a vehicular serial killer.
Yeah, I know we don't really have time for this because, like, again, it's 2 hour movie. We're almost
the movie's
over.
Fucking done, too, by the way.
Yeah. Are you a little surprised we don't have, like, a funeral scene?
It feels like the funeral is for Christine because we see her get cubed, right? And then it's all about, you know, let's do the little tease as we're apt to do because, of course, we learned from Carrie. We learned from the best. So we're going to replicate that ending, only it's with the car at the junkyard. And it truly just feels like the movie saying, well, the movie was never about Arnie or Dennis or definitely not Smart Slut. It's about Christine. That's why it's called Christine. And I can't disagree, but also how am I supposed to care about what happens to Arnie then?
It's okay. I almost want a version of this movie told entirely from Christine's point of view. So
with Rue McClanahan.
With Rue McClanahan. No, but I don't even mean like having Christine talk, but I mean like the camera never really leaves the interior, Christine's side.
Ooh, like a maniac meets Christine.
Yeah, kind of like that. So it's like, okay, then honestly, like the fact that we're not really like getting much from these characters isn't a big deal. But at least we know what Christine knows about it. So like, honestly, if you ever remade this, I actually would like kind of like maybe that approach. Or again, you've got to make these characters better. Like just a better screenplay.
Yeah, it is the most perplexing situation because I finished this and I thought, you know, I think you and I had an exchange about just there's kind of 3 main-ish characters. Like it's really Arnie and Dennis and then kind of Lee, but not really. And then even when pressed, I was like, it's not really even about Arnie or Dennis either. Yeah. And yet, you're right, this 2-hour runtime, it's just so perplexing. Like I don't know where the film's mileage went because I don't feel like I knew anything about these characters.
It's a thing where, I mean, again, like in the book, like Arnie is very much the puppet of LeBay because it's LeBay doing this. Christine is also just a host for LeBay. And so I guess, I'm switching my stance. I actually do really like that. It's like, okay, no, Christine is the entity. It is Christine herself. And so, yes, that moment between her and Arnie when Arnie dies is very touching. But yeah,
I think we have to care as much about Arnie as we hypothetically care about Christine. Like, it works in that moment, but when you step away or when you pull back
Yeah.
from it, you realize, oh, but all the stuff around that moment don't work as well.
There's just something that we said at the very top. Something just doesn't click here. And I think the movie does get, honestly, for the first 30-ish minutes, I think that I'm really into what this movie is selling.
Yep.
But it just, it frays too much after that point, and it just never pulls itself together.
Yeah, it does feel like a bunch of not quite isolated, but like miniature stories of Christine out doing her thing. And then we try to bring it all together in this climax, but the setup hasn't worked because it's been so start-stoppy with all the other revenge and that kind of stuff. And
well, okay, but then also, again, because I feel like this is kind of ending on like a sad, somber note, but then what cues us into the credits, Joe, but bye to the bone? I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's very tonally jarring. Like, I think it works as an exit needle drop where you're like, that movie, yeah, it had that rock and roll attitude. And of course, we have Lee making fun of the screenwriter cameo because he's the person with the boombox at the junkyard. And I'm like, okay, that feels like a much more conventional film where the heroes have persevered. Oh, actually, Trace, one final thing maybe before we wrap up. I hate this ending.
The final scene?
Yeah, just this idea. Like, I know I talked a little bit about the faculty when we were talking about disturbing behavior last week, but this feels like, again, the end of the faculty where we kill off the queer-coded villain in Arnie so that we can pave the way for the fucking milquetoast heterosexual union of Lee and Dennis.
Well, I have this for you, too. So there is one more bit about the ending to the book. 4 years later, Dennis and Lee have ended their relationship.
Yay! They were never meant to be together.
Dennis reads about a car accident in Los Angeles in which a drive-in theater employee, the last surviving member of Buddy's gang, was killed by a car that smashed through a cinder block wall. Dennis speculates that Christine may have rebuilt herself and is going after everyone who stood against her, saving him for last.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
But no, I agree with you fully. I mean, and we don't get like a kiss between them here. I think Lee's only line of dialogue is, God, I hate rock and roll after the boombox comes out.
Yeah, it's a groaner, but...
but yeah, no, that's exactly it.
Yeah. I mean, again, I agree with you. It probably sounds like we're really shitting on the movie as we came to the finish line, but I do think that this film is mostly enjoyable. It's a little forgettable, if in part just because it doesn't hang together fully for me. I think it's that I saw a lot of potential, especially in that first act where I thought, we're going to do something about the horrors of high school and what it's like to, be in this male friendship, but then things change when either you start to realize, I kind of want to fuck girls or I want to get into cars or something. And I was more interested in that. And the further that Dennis and Arnie got away from each other, the less successful I found the movie getting to me. And maybe that's just because I wanted to read the queer reading between the two of them. But I truly did think we were going to end the film with the pair of them maybe teaming up with Lee, but at least the two of them trying to take down this evil car together. And it was disappointing that we don't get that.
I mean, it's just a thing where, again, we know that Carpenter, was not passionate about this film, and he's been fine with it, outside of calling it a silly entry, but I think you can see there's a workman-like quality to this movie and a lack of passion. I think that's what you can see.
It gets the job done, and I can't remember, you said this movie was a success financially, right?
Yeah, it made just over double its budget.
There we go. So he did what he needed to do to get on to the right side after the flop that was The Thing, so that he could continue to just make more movies.
Exactly. So, I think this at least got him back in good graces with, the critics that really came down on The Thing. And actually, it's interesting. He follows this up with the sci-fi romance Starman.
Oh, wow. That's a pivot. That's
which, if you've never seen it, by the way, really good
great
movie.
Oh my God, the sexual chemistry between... It's Jeff Bridges and Karen Allen, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
It is.
They are very sexy together.
But then he does Big Trouble in Little China, and that's when he becomes disillusioned with Hollywood.
Le flops.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know. This is fine. I think, I'm with you. I see so much potential in here of things that you could do to make this more interesting. And I think it's disappointing that nothing, there weren't any big swings taken here,
Yeah. Tabitha, I'm not mad. I'm just frustrated.
It's not bad. It's just boring.
My God. I mean, I don't think I would call this movie boring, if we're being honest.
No, it's not boring. It's just, again, like, it's
like
missing...
dry stretches. There's like eczema in certain parts of this, but for the most part, it's pretty good. It's
eczema?
Fine. It's fine.
Eczema, like the skin disease?
Yeah, dry spots.
Okay. Oh, dry. Oh, there you go. I think you were mixing the pronunciation of Noxzema with eczema.
Wait, are you saying I had the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable?
On the wrong syllable. Okay.
You know what? Fuck you, shitter.
If shitter is not in that book, I swear to God, I'm going to be so disappointed because it has to be a kingism.
It has to be.
Okay, everyone. Well, some housekeeping before we shut this down. If you want to get in touch with us, you can reach us on Blue Sky and Instagram at HorrorQueers. Shoot us an email at horrorqueers@gmail.com. Find us on Letterboxd to keep track of all the films we've covered. If you want to chat with other listeners, please join our new Horror Queers Discord, linked in the show notes. If you have a moment, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you want more content, please support the show by becoming a patron at patreon.com/horrorqueers. If you subscribe today, you will get 377 hours of Patreon content, all for $10 or less, including this month's new episodes on Hannibal Season 2, Episodes 3 and 4, White Lotus Season 3, Drop, Sinners, and a brand new audio commentary on the Amityville Horror remake for its 20th anniversary. Oh, and we're opening up a brand new Patreon tier, y'all. The first time in like 5 years that we've ever done this. For $5 more a month, so that's $15, you get all that. But we're also doing episode-by-episode recaps of Season 2 of The Last of Us. So I don't really think we got to like really dive into that first season as much as we wanted to. So we are going episode by episode on this masterpiece of a show.
Yeah, and I'm excited because I feel like there's going to be so much to talk about, but also that means that you can actually really bring your game knowledge in, because I know you just did your replay too. So I want us to be able to unpack all of the juicy good stuff.
Oh, I know. And as of this recording today, they've already addressed how they are drastically changing one thing in the season, which I knew they were going to have to do. I knew that. I'll explain it when we get there.
I was going to say, I have been keeping as spoiler-free as possible. I know the cast, I have seen part of a trailer, and I know nothing else. So I'm going in stone cold Steve Austin.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to see your reaction. But Joe.
Yes.
What are we talking about next week?
Okay, so we're coming up on a certain out-of-this-world holiday, Trace. So we're going to be a couple of days early, but we just have to celebrate Alien Day. We're going to revisit the little franchise that was and talk about a sexy, wet entry. It's time for Alien Resurrection.
A sexy, wet entry.
Here's the thing. That movie is extremely horny, but it's also so moist. Like, everybody just looks wet and or they are getting wet. The whole movie.
I quite enjoy Alien Resurrection. I know
Me too.
It's not like the dark horse that Alien 3 is, but I know a lot of people don't like it, and I get it.
I get it. It's not for everybody, but I know this is the Alien movie that I have watched the most.
Because it's like it's not. I know it's not like a post-Scream slasher, but it is post-Scream, and it has that vibe of those late '90s horror films. You know,
it does. And Ellen really wants to fuck.
Yep.
Saying it.
But until next week, everyone, we can cross out Christine.
Indeed, and Tabitha. Cross out horror queers.